What's up, everybody? Welcome back for another episode of the Max Off-Road Podcast. My guest today is a young gun amateur motocross racer, Jeremy Fapanni. He's 18 years old. He's fast as shit. He actually broke his arm in Glendale, so he's on the mend right now. But the guy's got it going on. He's got crazy style. He makes these dope edits on Instagram to some trap music. So he's bringing a little bit of culture to the game. And the guy's just got like a super unique situation and mindset. He's got super supportive parents. We talk a lot about how his parents are involved with his program. His dad is a world-renowned horse trainer, and it seems like his parents are able to apply their high-performing knowledge to their son in a way that's very supportive. And there's lots of good information in here about parents and coaching and having good mentors and how to be successful in life. So check out this episode. I hope that you guys like it, and make sure that you comment below with your favorite part or something that you learned. Before we get into the episode, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Slavensracing.com. These guys have been with us since day one. They are my chosen retailer. They have all the Haas certified products that you want for your dirt bike. Mousses, they have nitro mousses, Plus tires, SXS skid plates, all of the things that you need for your bike to keep on going and keep your bike running, keep everything flowing smoothly. And they also have all the best customer service that you can get if you have a question about your jetting, your EFI, anything like that. They have a full service in-house. All their customer service representatives are dirt bike riders themselves, so they know so much, and that's what sets them apart. Slavensracing.com. Go check them out. Also, we have Bulletproof Designs. These products speak for themselves. These are high quality billet aluminum products made right here in the USA. They have a lifetime warranty, and put the products on your bike so that you have to work on your bike less. I hate working on my bike. I don't hate it, but if I break something and I got to fix it, like that is time that I can't really afford. So I put bulletproof products on my bikes, radiator braces, shark fins, and swing arm guards. That's really all that I run, but their stuff is so Haas certified. Go check them out. And last but certainly not least, Plus tires. Plus tires is a new tire manufacturer out of the UK. These guys, they're dedicated to high performance dirt bike tires. That's what they care about. That's their mission, is to create high performance dirt bike tires at a reasonable price. You can find them at slavens.com. I've been running the tough one, the 140, the wide tire in the back. It's been really good for all the hard enduro efforts that we've been doing lately, and it's just a great all-around tire. And then I've also been training on their standard Grand Prix tire for my ISDE efforts, getting ready for ISDE. So Plus Tires has been a huge addition to the team. They support the US Hard Enduro Series. They support us, so go support them. Try them out. Let me know what you think. That's about it. Hope you liked this episode. Thanks for listening. Jeremy Fapanni, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Thanks for coming by today. I'm super stoked.
That'll be good. Yes, sir.
We were just talking about Jared Becker, your trainer. Is he still training you?
Yeah, so right now I have Davey Millsaps doing on the bike and off the bike, but I still go into Jared to work. I mean, Jared has crazy amount of knowledge that I can still always learn from, and he's always willing to help. But I've worked with Jared since I was about seven or 8 years old, so I've been with him forever. He knows me really well, knows what works with me really well, I'd assume, and yeah, I mean, I still go in there once a week, get some work in with him, do whatever, Davey has me set for, but have it with Jared's eyes on me. And yeah, so it's always worked out good with Jared. So
I think that's where I first met you.
Yeah, I think
probably at Jared's.
Probably either in the desert or when we did that ride day with Taylor at the house.
At your house.
Yeah, one or the other. So
that's when I was like,
a good day.
I'm getting smoked by a kid on a 105. Okay.
Home track advantage.
Motocross is a different thing.
Yeah. Home track advantage. But
it's a pretty sick track, though.
Oh, crazy privilege to have two tracks like that in the backyard. So it's incredible for sure.
Do you how's the jump over the fence? Do you still have that? Like the
Yeah, we
fence?
still got 2 of those. So,
Okay.
I mean, they're scary when, I did a lot, not a lot, but I did a handful of riding last winter on the outdoor track. And then went to California for the spring, went to Florida for the summer, then came back and was training on Supercross at the house, no outdoors. And I was like running over my head. I was like, man, those jumps are scaring me right now. And I just had to go do them, go knock them out again, But they're scary. They're big.
The one looks scary, and it might not even be over the fence, but there's one that looks scary where you like wheelie. I saw you kind of like wheelie into it, and then like, and it's those ones with the straightaway in front of them are the scariest because you can't just come out of a corner and
No, there's one jump, left-hander, probably about like a 70 or 80 foot double over the fence. That one's out of the turn. It's easy to time, and then you land. That's another like 80 footer with like down, you have your ramp that you land on 30 feet and then into the lip. And it's basically just coasting the whole way. And I remember the first time I did it, OJ'd the crap out of it. Second time I did it, got it perfect. And I mean, that one's hard to get down. I had CB, Chris Blows, come out and ride with me one day. And it took me an hour to do the jumps too. But Chris, with the amount of experience I had, or that he has, I mean, it took him 30, 40 minutes to do every jump on the track. Yeah, I mean, it's scary.
It honestly makes me happy to hear that it's scary for you to hit those jumps.
Once you get in the flow in the moto, it's not bad. But I mean, in the warm up, early in the morning, still a little bit rusty. It's scary.
For sure. Those are big jumps.
Yeah, and they're big Supercross jumps. They're not, big sloped out outdoor jumps. They're Supercross peaked out jumps with 3 feet to land in the sweet spot, so it's hard to lock in for sure.
So is that part of your outdoor track at your house?
Yeah, so we have full outdoor track, and I told the builder give me some big jumps. I want something big to play around with, and that's what
Who built it?
Me. Randy Menegas. So he did dirt works for a long time, built all the Supercross tracks. We met him, or my parents met him and got in touch with him in San Marcos, where I grew up. We had my parents lived on a ranch, worked at a ranch in San Marcos, little town right by San Diego, in between San Diego, Temecula area, 20 minutes from Paula. But grew up there, threw a little track down. I was on a Honda 50. My brother was on a PW. My dad had a Yamaha 250 that he'd ride with us, and then moved here. And then Randy kept on building the tracks, and he's probably built 10 tracks for us at this point, maybe 8 to 10 tracks. And it's great to have a guy like Randy build tracks for me. And then the Supercross track, we had Ross from Dirtworks do it, and he did an amazing job on that one as well. So it's a great privilege to have tracks like that to ride on every day.
And the dirt out there is sick too.
And when it's wet, I mean, that's some of the best dirt. When it's dry, I mean, it's Arizona, but when it's wet, it's some of the best dirt you can get for sure.
Can you water it?
Yeah, you can water it. It'll take you about 3 hours. But
so when you're like in season training, are you watering, prepping that track like 3 times a week?
It's too much in the summer for one guy. I do all of my training in California. So this last summer I was in Florida at Baker's Factory, but besides that, I'm in California. I don't really ride at the house too much because for outdoors, because it's a 2 minute and 15 lap time on a 250. I mean, that's long as heck. So, and to rip it, to prep it, I mean, it's a full day to just get it ready to ride. And then, especially in the summertime, one person's not going to keep up on the watering, and to spend, let's say, 3 hours before I ride to water, to ride 2 30-minute sessions, it's a lot of work. And then once you have to, do your fitness stuff, and in the summer, it's just a lot. So, and track spreader in California, coaches are in California, my riding partners are in California. So that's where I spend almost all my time.
It's getting tougher though, because like AZ Moto is like dying off.
It's dead. It's dead. Yeah, all the tracks shut down. Canyon, Motoland, ET. I mean, it's
is Motoland shut down?
That's what Bobby told me. Yeah, they lost their well. Their well went dry. And then he was having to drive down the road or something to a different well, or maybe go to a fire hydrant and hook up a meter.
Recently? This must be recent.
Yeah, I was at ACP riding Supercross before I got hurt, and talking to Bobby, and he said Yeah, he's talking about the insurance problems they're having
Yep.
and all that, unfortunate crap that's going on. And then he's talking about AZ Moto Life that's just going downhill. So it's sad because there's this huge crowd, but not big enough crowd to keep multiple tracks open. So
I'm surprised. It does, honestly surprising, or
yeah,
it almost seems like it's like not a good business idea. Like it would be better if it was a good business idea.
I mean, yeah, the amount of water you have to run, you have to have dozer, loader, skid steer, flaggers. I mean, it's a lot of money to spend to have 50 riders come out and ride. I'm not sure how it pencils out with the fuel and all that. But.
And it's starting to dry out in California too. I mean, they're getting tracks shut down left and right.
It's bad. Yeah. I've been going to California since I was like 10 years old, training in California. And I remember back in the day, you have crazy amounts of, you had Star back there training. You had, Stewart was back there training back in the day. All these, legends were out there training. And now everyone is at Florida, train with their team, or have their private compounds, whatever they have. But no one's really in California anymore, so it sucks. But it is what it is, I guess. So.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the East Coast is kind of like the new mecca for moto.
Yeah, Club, Alden's.
Have you been there to Club?
I've never been to Club. I've heard it's one of the
place looks so
one of the prettiest facilities out there. But yeah, it's those East Coast facilities, when they take care of them with the grass and stuff, it's incredible. Alden's had the privilege of going there, and it's incredible there. I mean, the amount of work he puts into that property is quite impressive. So, yeah, it's an incredible place for sure.
It's kind of a bummer. Like, is everything going to go towards, like, owning your private track? Is, like, that going to be the way to ride a dirt bike? And then
seems like it, yeah.
Everybody else just, like, doesn't get to ride motocross?
That's the issue. It's like California, for example. If you're not on a factory team and you don't have your factory test track, you're going to Paula, which you're paying, over $100 to ride, and they're only open a day or two a week on Supercross. Used to have Elsinore, they shut down. No more Supercross there. You have Hemet that you can ride at, but I mean, for a privateer, I mean, it's terrible to try to get out there on a track and get working compared to these factory guys that have a track prepped for them every day to ride. So. It's tough for sure.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Really what was your time like in Florida training with Alden?
It's an incredible experience to be in a program like that has, the amount of history and the amount of championships that have ran through that program's incredible. And obviously the caliber of riders I get to ride with. You have Chase Sexton, that's sitting next to me, Tom Vial. You have Malcolm Stewart, AP, all these incredible riders that I get to watch and learn from every day. It's an incredible opportunity to have something like that, be in the East Coast dirt, be in that high class of a training facility. And that selective of a training facility it's an incredible experience. So it's definitely something I'll always cherish and always appreciate my time there. And yeah, something that I'll always be appreciative of.
Oh man, you probably can learn so much from like the guys
100%
riding with Chase Sexton, who just looks so good on the bike and just has everything down to the T. He's so perfect with everything he does, it seems like.
Yeah. Chase is watching him at Alden's. He's obviously the standout guy, watching him compared to everyone else. The stuff he does is incredible. The tech he has. He's always perfectly centered on the bike. Big old broad shoulders and elbows on him, standing up, always super stout on a bike. Yeah, helps. Whenever you ask him, he'll help. I remember there's a straightaway with about three rollers coming right into a little turn, and they get pretty kickered out with big bumps at the top of them, and he was jumping the last two, making a big double out of them. And it's pretty, I was struggling with it, told me what to change, fixed it right away, and guy's incredible.
What was it that you needed to change?
So the first two rollers, they're pretty spaced apart. They're probably about 30 feet in between each. And the first two rollers, you're gassing through them, manualing over them. You're going through them hard. And then the last two, they get rutted down pretty good and they have big bumps on them. And what I was doing is I would manual, and there's a big old kicker right at the top of the second to last one to double out. And I was trying to wheelie and drop my front right in the pocket to double out. And he was like, it's just compressing too much and you're blowing through that pop. You're blowing through that little knuckle you need to jump off of. So he was telling me to almost manual the first one and then use the second one to jump into that pocket instead of wheeling into that pocket, land both wheels into it, and just let the bike compress even more. So then it gives me way more pop. Because making the double wasn't the issue on that day. It was more of getting the pop to give me height to where I could stop. Because if not, I'm coming too fast, coming in too flat into the turn. So come in with more height, a little bit less speed, more pop. You can get on the brakes harder and make the turn and get in there better.
So you can downside it
exactly
a little smoother.
Yeah. Downside it smoother, get in the turn, get the bike settled. Because if I'm coming in hot, maybe I clip a little bit. That makes me skip 2-3 feet. That's just 3 feet less of braking time, and then I'm just mess up the turn maybe because I'm coming in with too much entry speed. So yeah, definitely that pop changed everything, and I mean it's crazy. It was crazy fast doing that compared to just coasting into the turn. So.
God, and it's crazy when you start really trying to find places to find speed. That's when you really start picking these sections apart.
Yeah,
and it's like down to a game of inches. Like, okay, instead of wheeling here, stay down and get your momentum, and so you get that forward. The forward and the pop, so you can downside it, so you can get on the brakes earlier and then get on the throttle earlier.
It's a tenth in every turn. That's all it is. It's not a second here or second there. It's a tenth in every turn that adds up. So that's where guys like Jet, guys like Chase, they find, they don't even have to look at the section, and they find out that you don't have to wheelie into that pocket. You got to jump into it and just find that tenth there, and it just adds up super quick. So it's impressive for sure.
And what else are you able to learn from those guys? Because I imagine you're able to learn different things from each one of those guys, AP, Chase, whoever else.
So you find out, like, every guy's different. Chase definitely likes to do his own program. Doesn't like, he's not too social. Like, he's a cool guy for sure, but he's not like, going out and just hanging out with everyone at the shop. He sort of gets in, does his business, and leaves. Then you have a guy like AP that's always cracking jokes, and you just sort of find each guy how they're efficient in their own workspace. Chase is probably more efficient, being straight to business, and AP maybe giving him a little bit of a lighter space to work in, cracking some jokes, having a good time. Maybe that helps him perform better and just have a more fun time at the track that gives him more fun on the track and makes him go faster. So really learning on how each guy works in their own programs, it's definitely nice because not one training situation works for everyone. Eli may do his thing. That's never going to work for Chase. Chase does his thing. That's never going to work for Jet. So, yeah, really trying to find out what works for everyone, I think, is super important.
And seeing these guys with their own personality types and their own things, it probably makes you reflect on yourself and be like, all right, well, like, how do I want to be? Who am I? And how do what makes me thrive? What's the best way for me to handle my training program and my business so that I can do the best at the races?
Exactly. Yeah. It's, I've been incredibly lucky. The people I've ridden with, like this winter, I was riding Supercross with Eli Tomac for 2 months, riding Supercross. So seeing what he does, super private, he is super, super strictly business. He's definitely not hanging out with anyone, at the tracks. He, comes in, does his thing and leaves, and it works. He has his dad still training him, which I think is super, super cool, that the amount of respect he has for his dad. The first time I watched him train at the house, he looked at his dad and said, "What's the plan for the day?" How many multi-championship guys that's 30 years old is going to look at his dad and say, "What's the plan?" and not just be like, "Oh, I've done it enough times. I know what I'm doing." So he still has an immense amount of respect for his dad and
trust.
The trust he has in his dad, and it's incredible what that guy's been able to do. So yeah, it's crazy lucky being able to ride with those type of guys.
So you got to ride with him at his ranch in Cortez?
He was riding here at my house in Scottsdale. So it freezes over. It freezes over every winter for a few months in Cortez. So he used to go to California and ride at one of the test tracks there, right in Temescal Canyon. But he changed it up this year and wanted to ride somewhere, a place he likes a little bit more. I know he has, I believe he has some family here in Scottsdale is on his wife's side. And his mom does horses, and they're obviously pretty ranchy family. So there's a lot of horse scene out here. So I think they just like the area. And yeah, I mean, it was working great for him for the rounds. He looked incredible on the rounds he raced. And super unfortunate. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can happen quick.
Yeah. It's brutal, but yeah, it sucks. So it is what it is.
What an incredible opportunity to get to train with Eli Tomac.
Yeah. Just me and him.
It seems like your dad and you probably understand the value of surrounding yourself with people that
100%
are successful.
Yeah, I've always the amount of the coaches I've worked with, it's incredible. I mean, every coach I've worked with have done great things in the sport. So I've always been able to surround myself. My parents have surrounded me with just great trainers, people that have, people that always give their straight up opinion, people that know what they're talking about. And yeah, if you don't have a strong circle around you, you're not going far. So if you have people that care, people that want to work with you, it's going to help a lot rather than just doing it on your own, for sure.
And yeah, and like getting different perspectives is so important too.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Like getting, having this trainer for a while, getting another trainer, getting a riding coach from here, getting this riding coach, because then you just get different perspectives, get
Constantly.
different sets of eyes on your riding, and you can improve in different ways.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. Like I worked with Ivan Tedesco for like 3 years or so. Took a job with Triumph, so he wasn't in California as much. He was having to go to Georgia, test with them a lot. And I asked him about Marvin Muscan, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that great guy to work with when I'm not in town." Worked with Marv for this spring and before I went to Florida, and that guy, I mean, breaks down a track much different than anyone else
Really?
I've ever. Yeah, the lines he looks at, he's just super techie. The lines he's looking at, it's great. So it's
Like what? Like
the way he sets up his turns, the way he thinks about a track, the way it's just it's so different from what I'm used to. Ivan was like that too when I first started working with him. He was telling me, the way you would have me hit a rut, right? So let's say the inside rut coming in on the main line on the straightaway before. Let's say it's a 5-second split, and that's the fastest split you get. But that split is only going to last at 5 seconds for, let's say, 5 laps. And then maybe the rut gets blown. Now it goes to 5.5 for that split. And he was like always super big on setting up the track to develop. So set up maybe let's open our entry before the track blows out. So let's open up the entry, sweep in. Maybe it's going to be, 5.1, 5.2, but at least you can maintain that all moto rather than being 5.0, 5.0, 5.0. 5.5, 5.8, and now you're having to change a whole new line. Let's set up the line, make sure this moto works the whole time, make sure this line works. And yeah, I mean, Ivan was big on that. Marvin, he's super techie. The stuff he would, it's hard to explain because it's in the moment on the track. Every track's different, but the stuff he would have me look out for on a track once he sort of told me what to look for. It was good. And he would ride with me too. So it was a little bit different from some coaches, they're just looking on the side of the track and, maybe they're watching on this jump and just watching the whole track, but they can't really see what this line is on that section. They only can see what's right in front of them. But then Marv would do motos with me and he's, watching me, how I develop when the track develops, how I adjust my lines, how I adjust my technique. And I think that's super crucial as well, seeing eyes 10 feet behind you too. So
that's sick that he actually gears up and rides with you.
Oh, he loves moto. I think it's awesome. Absolutely loves it. He's one of the few guys retired 2-3 years ago, and he's still riding as much as he can. So he loves it.
Some guys stick with it. Some guys are like, this is the sport I'm passionate about.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something in this sport forever. And then other guys are like, I'm ready to get in. I want to win as many championships as I can, make as much money as I can, and then I'm
balance. Done. Yeah. Marv sticks around. I see him. He was doing some test riding with KTM this winter while I was at their track train for Phoenix and stuff before I got hurt. But yeah, I mean it's great. That guy loves it. So
he's kind of lanky, like he's got like a similar build to you also, so you could probably watch him ride and then learn from it.
Yeah, it's he's super similar build, super skinny. He told me he raced his last outdoor year on 450 at 140. So
whoa.
Yeah, it's crazy how, I mean, he's a little dude for sure. So but yeah, I mean, you get guys like Marv, and it's like you said, it's great to learn from everyone. You get a guy like Marv that's, small, you get a guy like Ivan that's short, he's small in that way. And now I train with Davey and have learned a great amount of knowledge from Davey. And, that guy he's built like a tank.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, he's 200 plus pounds probably, I would assume, or right around 200 pounds, and he's built. So yeah, just learning from all these different guys and the way each, one technique may work better this way or this track, and then this technique may work better in this track or this turn. So it's great to learn all this knowledge for sure.
And once you're at the point where you like are riding on the balls of your feet, you're braking before the corner, you're accelerating through the corner and out of the corner, you can hit the inside, you can hit the outside.
Yeah.
Like once you get to the point where you're super fast, you can hit all the lines. Like how are these guys able to coach you to like find more speed? Is it little things or is it practicing more of the fundamentals?
For me, I did a lot of fundamentals growing up. So I started with AZ legend Shark Moto, did a lot of technique with him, and it was great. And then trained with Sebastian Tortelli for a bit, and then from there he went back to France. Then I started training with Buddy Antonez, and you do your warm up, and the first real training you do 2 laps at a time of feet on pegs, no rear brake, no clutch. You do that. He moved on, took a job in JGR, and then I started training with Nate Dogg.
And what was the purpose of that?
Just really getting a good base, starting the day, not just thinking about going wide open right away, starting the day thinking about being smooth, getting rid of that clutch, not, just banging that clutch and just bouncing off the rev limiter, not dragging your rear brake through the turns, focus on that front brake and not just abusing that one brake. They even put me on no brakes sometimes, and that really just teaches you how to flow. So yeah, I mean, I did that, and then I trained with Nate Dogg for a handful of years after that too, and he's the same way. You start every day with fundamentals. So I did a lot of that, a lot of fundamentals. So I would say I have a pretty good base when it comes to technique. And then, yeah, like with Ivan, Marv, Davey, you're not finding second every day. It's finding, a 10th here, a 10th there, and it adds up maybe to half a second this day, and then you get to a full second the next day. So it's hard, especially on a track like, let's say, Paula or Glen Helen that I ride every week. You're not finding seconds every day. So it's just making sure the track, you're developing with the track. I think it's super important. There's people that can go fast when it's fresh, but once it gets blown, like Glen Helen gets, they lose that speed. And yeah, I think that's super important, is being able to maintain your speed. Dylan Ferrandis, when he was training with DV before he moved and when he was on Star, I mean, that guy was out there all day long. When the track was blown, he was going just as fast as when it was brand new. So something like that, it's super important. And
when the track gets beat like that, are you adjusting your lines like outside, inside?
100%. Yeah, you're always moving around for sure. But I mean, on these tracks, I sort of know how they develop. Let's say a track I train on, of course, race day tracks, it's always different on a track I'm not on every day. But a track like Paula or Glen Helen, Elsinore, those type of tracks, you know what lines work, but they develop different every day. This inside may be ripped super deep that day, and it's not good until, let's say, 12:30 once it dries up. And then one day maybe it's super super shallow and it's fast right away, and then it's blown at the end of the day. So it's always moving around and just figuring out, just adjusting to the track and what the conditions are that day, for sure.
The hard part is when you're racing. Mm-hmm. When you're racing, moving around during the race and finding out what's good.
You have to be comfortable, yeah.
And moving. What's bad. Because when you find out what's bad, you're like, oh, I just lost. Sometimes it can cost you a second.
For sure.
Finding out what's bad, but you're like, okay, I needed to know that was bad.
It's tough having confidence to move around in a race. Sometimes you're in this inside line that's the fastest at the start. You go through your sight lap, you see that's the fastest line, you hit that, you're smashing that, and then halfway through the moto it starts to get blown, but you just get comfortable in that line. You're not wanting to move around. It still works, but it's probably not the fastest. So moving around and developing, it's a tough skill to learn and just read it on the go, because when you're coming into a turn with 10 different ruts, 10 entry ruts, and it's tough for sure. So
That's one thing that doing brakeless drills helped me a lot with
Mm-hmm.
was looking ahead.
Oh yeah, you can't look down.
You have to look so far ahead because you're like, how can I come into this turn so I can maintain the most amount of speed? Okay, let's just
100%.
lean into this thing like this.
Yeah.
And it's like if you come in and hit the inside line with the biggest braking bumps, it's like it doesn't work.
No, yeah, that's why doing fundamentals every day, just for 15 minutes every day to start your day, I think is a great skill for anyone. It'll help Jet. It'll help anyone. So I don't think fundamentals should ever leave your program. I don't think doing sprint laps and motos every day is probably going to be the best. But I think, yeah, like you said, fundamentals are just always changing it up and learn something new. I think is super important.
Well, it's just like anything. You have to have that foundation.
For sure.
And it's so easy for your foundation, even at a high level, for it to start falling apart just a little bit.
Yeah, you can get lazy really quick. Doing motos all day long every day. You could start dragging your leg here, dragging your leg there. I go back to my rear brake a lot. If I get too stuck in my groove, I can drag my rear brake real bad. So you can get stuck in it pretty hard, and that's why riding with people riding with Taylor Robert here. He's always doing little fun drills to change it up. Riding with, Davey, riding with the boys in Florida. They're always doing, it may not be doing feet on the pegs laps, but maybe going to this turn and just, trying to start a new line and try to hit it this way, hit it that way, see what works best. And, just always keeping it fun and keeping something new, I think works for sure.
Dude, you have to keep it fresh.
Yeah. Yeah, if you get stuck doing motos every day, you're definitely going to get burnt at some point, so... Yeah, doing, throwing whips at the end of the day, whatever it is.
So important.
100%. Yeah, I'm big on, going and having fun for a little bit. Maybe if it's the warm-up, whatever it is, go throw some whips.
Plus, what good would the trap music edit be without a couple of whips?
Yeah, just a turn montage. Isn't that sick? Is getting some sick airtime for sure.
Dude, I love the trap music reels that you're into.
Yeah,
Do you pick the music?
Yeah, I'm big in rap. I don't listen to country too much.
Country's brutal, dude.
I can't do it personally. So I've always grown up around rap music, whether it's my brother or my parents, whoever it is, listening to rap music.
Does your dad listen to rap?
Not my dad, but my mom.
Really?
Yeah, my mom listens to. She loves rap. So my dad, he's definitely a country rock type of guy. But
like what kind of country? Because there's
like
different
Aaron
kinds.
Lewis, Chris
Okay.
Stapleton type of stuff,
Yeah.
type of like mellow rock to country,
Yeah.
sort of blend together.
Yeah.
It's that type of stuff, I'd say for sure.
Because there's like a pop country, like
Not like
that stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Is like makes you want to throw up.
not
honestly.
not the new country, the more OG guys for sure. Not the I don't even know the names, but I could tell you I
He
know
probably
some
likes
songs,
old sounding stuff like Coulter Wall too.
something that more red dirt style radio that I'd say more of that stuff, but I can't do it.
Dude, the trap
full time.
music sounds fun to me. Like it's
Especially on
a
moto.
vibe, dude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On moto, have some fun with it. Yeah. Don't be too basic. All the boys throw down on a good song they like. So yeah, get some good music in there for sure.
Dude, because it like plays a big role in your persona and your social media.
100%.
Like if you have a cool social media with like cool music and cool edits, like dude, that can actually inspire people.
Oh yeah, I think filming a cool edit. I've had had the opportunity to film with a lot of great guys, and just those guys are crazy talented. You don't even need to be just going and doing this section and get the clip right. I mean, you could literally they'll come out and while you're motoing and they'll throw something crazy together, and it's like, yeah, that was sick. So the little stuff they get, especially in a training day, like in a 30-minute moto, you do 10 to 15 laps, right? And you do something that in the moment you're like, okay, yeah, like don't even think about it, right? But then once you see it on clip, it's like, man, that was pretty techie what I did there, or like that scrub was nasty, whatever it could be, So yeah,
Dude, and how good is having video to be able to see yourself ride? Because I'll be feeling one way, I'll see myself ride, I'm like, crikey, I need to work on that.
I think I learned pretty good off video. So I mean, I haven't done a whole lot of Supercross on a big bike, I've been hurt, with my knee, and then now my arms. I haven't done a great amount of time. I don't have a good base at all on Supercross. It's more of we sort of had to rush through it before I got hurt because I didn't have time to build a long base because I got hurt in November. And then Glendale it was the 1st of February, so I started riding end of December. So it didn't really give me a long time to learn, take my time with it and get a good base. So we started going through it and training with Davey. I have the privilege of riding with Ryder D and Juju, and those guys. I mean, they've been doing it for years and they know what they're doing. So watching how they do it and then just trying to mimic that, I think it works for me personally. So just getting videos of me and then getting videos of, let's say, Juju and what he's doing through this section, it definitely helps for sure.
Well, monkey see, monkey do is like the best way to learn. Like I grew up watching Jeremy McGrath.
Exactly.
And all I wanted to do was be like Jeremy McGrath.
Yeah.
And when you watch so much and you're able to absorb so much of that, like it becomes part of you.
100%. Yeah.
Especially if it's something that you're like passionate about and really care about.
Exactly.
You'd be watching a Steel Roots movie and then go to sleep and then like that shit is still going through you
the next day at the track.
And the next day at the track you like feel better, dude. I remember it's watching and learning is so important, but you can't watch yourself, but having video now you can. And you can see other guys, so you could see them try it, think that you feel like what that looks like.
That's the biggest part. Yeah.
And then you see a video of you, you're like, oh, I'm
missing this.
I'm missing this. I don't look like what I feel like I look like.
Exactly. Yeah, like a big thing Davey was helping me with was pushing through my rhythm lanes in Supercross and not just, bop, 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 and, just catching half a second more of airtime than I need to and really charging in the rhythms. And, you'd be like, get over the front, like you're not over the front. And I'm like, yes, I am. I'm like, I'm over the front. And he's like, no, you're not. Video's me, video's Juju. And I'm like, all right, I got work to do. So, yeah, in that moment, I felt like I was doing everything right. Shows me the video, sees what I can critique on and get better at, and definitely helped for sure.
Is he saying like Josh Hansen, like over the front style, like traveling through the air like this?
Yeah, because, not to that extreme. I mean, he's a dog. He's sick.
So gnarly, dude, the way he does that. It's so sick.
He's one of the sickest dudes out there riding wise.
Such gangster style.
He's as flowy and as chill as it gets. But if you're jumping off in a Supercross rhythm lane, for example, if you're jumping off the back, then you're going front end high and you're sort of going to float a little bit more, rather than if you're over the forks pretty hard and really get in that transition, really push down on the bike, you're going to get that Josh Hansen effect where you don't have to brake tap per se, and you're just really pushing down. If you watch any of the pros, they're super in the air, whoa, and push down super hard, and then they're front end down a little bit. You rarely ever see them off the back, brake tap, bring it down, go down.
Right, like they're actually like head forward, like absorbing their bike into their body.
Yeah,
like almost like keeping their head as low as they can compared to the jump. So like,
exactly. It's a lot of movement, a lot of strength that goes into it, and the amount of seconds you can get out of pushing through rhythm lanes, way more than you can get. I feel like as I started, for me personally, the pushing the turns, I wasn't getting as much speed as when Davey would really have me focus on getting faster through my rhythm lanes. I was doing the same rhythms, but just pushing through, you could get a second in a rhythm lane. It's
wow.
It's big, but it's big for sure.
And it's hard. I imagine it'd be hard to commit because you have like what, 2 or 3 foot buffer where you have to. I mean, if you want to downside the rhythm lanes perfectly, like, you really need to land within a foot of where 100%. You want to. And if you're clipping the back end every time, dude, that's
2/10 there, 2/10 there, and then if you OJ, you're going deep into the next. Now you pop up big, so getting perfect in those transitions are big for sure.
That's one thing I notice about like the top 15 guys at Supercross, top 10 guys even, is like they're buttering the downsides every time. And if they do OJ, then they're still able to hit the next jump.
Yeah.
They can regain it
100%.
They OJ a little bit, still downside the next jump perfectly, back on track.
Those guys, I mean, it's so gnarly what those guys do. Learn a whole track I mean, they're going wide open in the first qualifying session, and they have 2 free practices before that, maybe press day the day before if you get it or not. But being able to go wide open on a track you have, let's say 15, 20 laps on, it's sick for sure.
So gnarly.
Yeah, and getting those rhythms down, because it's just like scrubbing. You could go off a jump straight, you hit it at quarter throttle, but now you're scrubbing hard. Now you're hitting it full throttle. So just let's say I start pushing harder through a rhythm lane, I'm going to start having to hit it faster because I'm soaking up that energy, soaking up that speed off the pop. So yeah, it's those guys, the amount they learn on the flies, it's incredible for sure.
Well, and they've done it so much.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the guys in the 450 class, like these guys have so many laps. I'd be curious to know how many laps those guys have on a supercross track.
On a I mean, yeah, you're doing a lap every minute.
Like a million?
It's probably pretty close. Yeah, because I mean, during a day, you're doing 50 laps every day. On outdoors, you're not doing that much, but I mean,
50 laps a day.
Yeah, that was a pretty normal day for Davey. It was like 40, I'd say more 40, 45 laps a day.
How many days a week?
4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So, I mean, yeah, you get, let's say 200 laps every week. So, with no race weekend. So, yeah, it's definitely a lot of laps.
Okay, so 200 laps a week.
Sure, yeah.
For how many weeks are there in a year?
53 or 52.
200 times 52. That's 10,500. But that's not including races. But how many?
If you're racing, laps? I mean, that's during boot camp that David was having me doing, and that's 4 days a week.
Yeah, okay.
So if you're going into season, you have maybe 2 or 3 days a week, and then if you're racing, you're doing light days, 2 days a week, 1 day a week.
But you're making up for it at the races.
Exactly. Yeah, you're still putting in the effort.
So roughly 10,000 laps a year.
Mm-hmm. So
times 25. That's 260,000 laps on a supercross track.
Yeah.
That doesn't count motocross.
No. That's only half your year.
And that's not accurate, but
no, yeah.
It's not super accurate, but
yeah.
I mean,
riding supercross every week.
It wouldn't surprise me if Tomac was like, "Oh yeah, dude, I've done 250,000 laps on a supercross track."
Oh, at this point 100% he's done 200,000 laps, I would assume. I mean, if that's 1 year or however long
it's amazing to me that guy has done 250,000 laps on a supercross track and he still rides the way that he does. You'd think he'd be like, I just want to make this a little easier. I just want to be a little bit smoother. Never. And I'm not dogging his style at all. He's got the sickest style.
He's still smooth though. That's the thing.
He is.
He's still so smooth with how aggressive he is.
He's just so hard on the throttle.
I mean, there's not a single piece of dirt on a track that he's not charging on. I had Jared come out and watch me one day that I was training with Eli, and the first day I saw Eli, it's incredible to see just Eli on a track and see what he's doing. I mean, it is anywhere he is, it's full throttle. It's incredible. I mean, the amount of effort he's putting in and the way he puts in his effort, it's awesome.
Did he ever do any clutchless drills? To warm up?
I don't think I saw one of those, but
he'd probably boycott it.
I mean, he goes through a clutch a day, every day, clutch a day. It's incredible. I mean, what that guy does.
How long is your lap time at your house? Were you guys riding Supercross?
Yeah, it was a minute. His fastest was like a minute. I don't think he broke a minute, and I was like 103, 105, and he was in a moto. He was like 101s, I would say. So
he's like got you by like 5 seconds on average on a motocross track?
On a moto track, I'd say more.
I mean, a supercross.
On a supercross track, yeah, 3 to 5 seconds I'd say is a normal gap for me to him. But that's on a track I ride every day. If I go to a race day, I mean it takes me hours longer to learn a track than it would him. So that's where his the time he spent on a supercross track and that experience is really where it comes down to.
Experience is so valuable in this sport. That's why it's almost a shame, or it seems weird, not a shame, but it just, it's a bummer that guys are burnt out by the time they're 29.
Yeah.
It makes sense because they've probably done a quarter of a million laps on a supercross track by then.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it too, like, depends on the people around them and
For sure.
their perspective on the sport and their passion for it, and how their parents have kind of fostered their passion for that sport.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it depends on that.
I 100% agree. And I think these guys, the reason, I mean, obviously, I'm sure the money's still good for them because they're still at the top of their game. You have Coop Webb that I would say looks the best he's ever looked this year. You have Eli that looked crazy good this year. I mean, all these older guys, they're not getting worse. I don't feel like
they're getting better.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's sort of hard to be like still progressing and be like, oh, I'm done. Like these guys just keep on getting better. Like Eli kept on. I mean, I wasn't able to see him training in the past years, but I mean, this year he looked incredible at a practice track. So it's sort of hard when you don't see that decline to like be like to leave all that money on the table and stuff. I would assume.
Well, and think about it. Every year that you race, you have another year's worth of data from your training program,
100%.
From your racing program. You have another year's worth of racing, like race gate drops and racing.
More and more dialed in every year.
More experience, more learning, and these guys are professionals at what they do. So that they're reflecting after every practice session and writing down what they're learning. What are they working on? Like, it's a process for them. They're
100%.
highly involved. After every race, where can I improve? What can I do better? What did I learn? What did I do well? Where can I improve?
100%.
And, if you take that, it would make sense that a guy like in his 30s is in the peak of his career.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, they just, more and more data to look at every year for sure.
I think it's just hard on life though, because it's not an easy life. Like racing motocross, supercross for a living is a hard living, bro.
Oh, I mean, because most kids, they go pro. Let's say on average 20 years old for a top guy. Let's say 20 years old, and every year they're racing supercross from what is it, 1st of January to like sometime in May is whenever the season's over. Have a week, or I think it's only a week or two off. Then you're doing 11 nasty 30-minute moto rounds and some nasty heat and some nasty tracks with 1 weekend off.
And it's not like it's like prime conditions. You're not in these you're not in Florida. You're not in wherever these races are
in
like
Indiana, in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's not like the best time of year.
No, not at all. So you do that, and then you go home, and you have. I think SMX is up next. You have a few weeks off, then SMX, and then if you're racing Des Nations, you got Des Nations after that. If you have Paris Supercross, you have that. I mean, there's no off season when you really look at it. So it's just a lifestyle all these Moto Bros pick. So,
dude, whenever I talk to like a doctor or somebody that's like outside the industry or anybody, and they're like, so when's your season start? I'm like, it started when I was 12 and it hasn't ended yet.
Yeah. All these doctors and PTs that I've been having to work with, I mean, they're like, okay, so like you missing, like, when's the season start? And I'm like, start in January and ends in December, like it's year round. It's literally year round, even for an amateur. So yeah, you get a few calm weeks here and there, but it's almost year round for pros or amateurs for sure.
Your dad, I imagine, has had a pretty strong influence on you.
Yeah, my dad is the hardest working guy I've ever met. He's the biggest grinder I've ever met. So he out the house at 4:30 every day and gets back at 7:30, 8 o'clock every night, and he's done that for the last 20 years. So
what?
Yeah, riding 20 horses a day, and yeah.
He rides 20 horses a day, and he's out the door at 4:30?
Yeah, I would on average about 20 horses a day. There's some, after the big shows maybe, because there's sort of seasons to the showing circuit. So at the start of the year, it's older horses, so they're 4 to 7 year old horses that they're showing, and then towards the later part of the year, it's more focused on 3-year-old horses and only 3-year-old horses. So maybe after halfway through the year, and he stops riding and training every day on those older horses, and he can give those horses a break. So maybe, he's going, 15 this week, but there's weeks he's riding more than 20. So he's he's incredible for sure.
And what exactly does he do?
So he trains reining horses. It's
Reining horses.
Yeah, it's a quarter horses is what they ride. It's a performance horse, and it's sort of hard to explain, but basically it's not racing or anything like that. They're judged purely off of a pattern that they have to perform. And it's off of, it's sort of there's obviously penalties that my dad can do and deduct from his score, but how he gets marked on his maneuvers is it's off of style, it's off of effort. Like, if it looks super hard to do, they might not mark him as much, but if he makes it look super effortless and super pretty, they're going to mark him more. The speed, obviously. So it's a lot to the eye and how pleasing it is to the eye.
Interesting. So it's a judged event.
Yeah, it's judged event. It's not like racing or something.
And does he compete himself, or does he train these horses to be competed with other people?
He does both. He trains the horses and then he competes as well. So yeah, he does. Yeah, he breeds
How does
horses.
one get started in that game?
So my dad grew up on a dairy farm when he was in Italy. Grew up on a dairy farm from a few generations deep of dairy farmers, as his dad was and his grandpa. And
where in Italy?
He was born in Treviglio, so in Bergamo and BG.
Oh,
yeah, right where ISD is.
Dude,
so,
I'm going there.
I know, yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's right in Bergamo, right outside of Milan. So
wow.
He was born there, grew up there, and then I don't know exactly how he got his first horse, but I think just being in the ranchy scene, at a dairy farm.
He found a passion for the horse thing.
Yeah, started riding horses at some point and just found a passion for it. Him and his dad would come over to the States, because the States is definitely there's a big scene over in Europe, but the biggest money's here in the States. So he and my grandpa would come over here, for a few big shows a year, maybe, my dad, I know, would come over for some summers, learn from some people, from some trainers here. But once he was 18, made the move full time here, and went to some trainers, learned from those guys as a professional, as an assistant trainer, and went out on his own in 2000, I believe, and that's the story basically.
Wow, what a unique
Yeah.
individual. And how does he like it here compared to Italy? Does he have family back there?
Yeah, all of his family's still in Italy. So, I mean, yeah, he loves it here. He's lived probably more life here he's lived than in Italy. So, but I know, yeah, he still loves to, when he can find time, I'm sure, go see his family, go see his parents, just be in that home environment. But I mean, he's been here so long. I feel like he's basically an American at this point. But
does he have an accent still?
Sorry,
does he have an accent?
I don't notice it.
Really?
Yeah, it's very very faint, I'd say. But a few words he botches here and there. But for the most part, you can't really.
Dude,
tell.
You're full blown like American. Like you're not even Italian at all, really, anymore.
No, not at all.
I mean, by blood a little bit from your dad or whatever, but like you're an American.
Yeah, I'm working on getting my Italian citizenship. So.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
So you can go there?
Yeah, just have a different passport, have dual citizenship. I think it'll always be good to have. So, but yeah, I wouldn't call myself an Italian at all. So.
Can you speak Italian?
Very, very little.
Do you like pasta?
Yeah, I've grown up on that stuff. So, yeah. Pasta, and my dad makes pizza. My dad's a heck of a chef. So,
really?
Oh yeah.
What a high performer.
Yeah, anything he does, he puts effort into it for sure.
He goes hard, huh?
Yeah, puts effort in. Everything.
What's that like for you?
It's motivating for sure. My mom is just as hard as a worker as my dad is for sure, and seeing both of my parents work just as hard as they're at their goals, and they're not leaving the house at 8:00 and getting back at 5 or whatever it is. They're putting in all their effort, all their time a day into getting better at their job, getting better, running a better business, having better horses. They're always working at their craft. So it's definitely inspiring to see people, and it's paid off for them. So it's definitely definitely inspiring to see what they've done for sure.
I bet, because you could look at them and go, okay, they're this successful, and this is what they do.
Exactly.
It's that simple.
Yeah. Wake up, go work and train. Just go get it done. So
I bet like that could be good, but I feel like it could also be hard. I feel like that could add pressure too, because you're like, man, my dad and my parents. What does your mom do?
My mom trains horses as well, so she shows as well. But she does I'd say about half of her time goes into riding horses, and then the other half of her time goes into doing all the business side with the ranch and stuff, dealing with clients, doing all the billing and that type of stuff. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, my parents are super supportive of me. They know when I'm training, I do as much as I can. So, yeah, whether it's, doing a little bit extra time on a road bike that I'm all scheduled for, doing, an extra gym session a week, it's, taking care of my body, making sure I'm performing as much as I can. So they know that I do as much as I can on a dirt bike. And, but yeah, I mean, they're
certified hard chargers, bro.
Oh yeah. They're
So like
grinders.
Seeing that, do they put pressure on you? Like, do they say like, if you want this, you got to do this, get out there, do your motors? Like, are they hard on you like that in a way? Or are they just like, hey man, this is your choice. This is what you want. If you want this, then this is what you have to do. Like what's their approach, and how do they guide you for you to be your best?
Yeah. So,
because I feel like as a parent, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no problem.
As a parent, it seems like that would be a hard balance to find. And you see so many moto parents that don't understand it. Like they don't come. I see a lot of moto parents that are maybe not having the right approach with their kid, at least from my perspective.
There's
like the kid's like doesn't like it. He's getting burnt out. He's not into it. And they're yelling at him from the side of the track. And, these parents, it seems like the majority of the time aren't necessarily high performers themselves. So they don't really understand what it takes on like a mindset level to like be able to race. But I could see how like your dad would have a different perspective as like a high performer and a high achiever.
Yeah.
And have a better approach with that. So like, how do they do that with you?
So I've trained with a lot of kids, that their parents are there every day at the track. The kids, they're talking to their coaches, obviously, but I mean, the dad is constantly in the ear of someone, constantly in the ear of the team manager, constantly speaking for their child, constantly always, he
needs this, he needs that.
Yeah, he needs this, he needs that. Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? And my parents are really good at, letting me build my own relationships. Like there's a lot of kids that don't talk to, let's say their sponsors, their boot sponsor, their parents are always, hey, my son needs this and that. I've been able to build great relationships with some of the great sponsors I've been able to have over the years. So I think they've always been great in that way and sort of let me do my own stuff, but they've guided me the whole way through. I wouldn't say at all that I'm not running my own show one bit. They're watching over me, making sure my training gets done. Always checking in with coaches, always making sure, everything's going to plan, whether it's making sure my bike's is set up the way it needs to be. They're always making sure I have every tool I need in the toolbox to go perform. So I'd say they're a perfect balance. They're showing up, show effort, definitely show up to the races, always show support. And, but then again, they're not watching over me they're not watching me in the gym train. They let me do my thing that the coaches tell me to do. So for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be the ones yelling. They don't yell at you on the side of the track.
No, they're not a 50 parent. No, the 50 parents.
Bro.
Yeah, those. I mean, we went through our stages, as 50 parents growing up in Arizona doing the local AZ circuits. My dad, I'm sure, got riled up a few times, but no, they're super calm and collected, and they're not going to yell at me in front of a bunch of people after a bad result. So it's break it down, think about it, and let's talk about it in a respectful manner for sure.
Totally. And what good does yelling at your kid do? Like,
they just shut down.
Shaming your kid you're not going to shame your kid into doing better.
No, very few times that's going to work. So it's the kids will probably just shut down and stop caring and start hating what they do, because
totally
every time they, maybe they crash in this moto and come off the track and get obliterated by their parents. So.
Well, now the parents aren't being curious about their kid. They're not asking the kid questions. They're not being calm. I feel like calmness is a really big one for me. Mm-hmm. Like if you, just like your energy, right? Like whether it's your parents or your people that you work with, but like if you come at me with like a certain energy, like you're going to get out of me what you're going to bring. Yeah. So like I try to bring a level of calmness to my sponsors, 100%. My relationships, because dude, I want to operate with a clear head, and like 100%. Getting like emotionally frustrated about things doesn't help.
No,
letting external things jerk around my emotions, that's not going to help me become better.
Not at all. Yeah. If I yell at you, you're probably going to yell at me back. So
or I might not. I might
like come whoop my ass.
But it might, if you yell at me, your point won't be taken.
No, you're just talking out of anger, so might as well come at it in a level head.
Yeah.
Make sure everyone understands what's going on, and I definitely think that's the best way to approach a problem whenever, if we have an issue, my training or whatever, if you're gonna come at me yelling, my coach, if I have a bad moto, my coach comes at me yelling, I'm probably not gonna do the best. So, that's why I think having good coaches that work with you best is super important for sure.
Yeah, and like I'm open for criticism,
100%.
But if you give it to me in a way that's like not very nice, like if you give it to me in like an aggressive way, like I'm probably going to be less. It's not going to be very well received.
I'm with you on that one. So all the coaches I've ever had, Ivan, super chill dude. Marv,
he
chill.
Seems so cool.
Ivan's a cool ass dude. So he's as chill as they get.
West Coast chill.
Oh yeah, little New Mexico rat. Super chill. So all my coaches have been super chill. I'd say Davey's probably the least chill guy I've had, but I think it's good to a point. Like he gets me fired up, but he's not yelling at me after a bad moto.
Right.
He's not that type of guy, but he's gonna get me fired up before moto.
Right, let's go throw down.
Yeah, exactly. He's not doing it in a bad way at all.
Right.
I think it it fires me up. It's a good thing. So he's it's great to learn from a guy like him and have him support me like that.
Dude, what a great set of mentors that you've been able to surround yourself with.
It's incredible. Yeah, I'm probably one of the few
that have
been able to ride with the guys I have and train with the coaches I have. It's incredible opportunities my parents have set me up with, and these coaches have put in the time with me. So I appreciate everything that's gone into it for sure.
I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, from the outside looking in, you're living the dream, bro.
100%. Yeah. Have the sick track at the house. Got the sick dirt bike. Yeah, everything's. Yeah, I got the moto van. Everything's good to go. Got the big old trailer for the races. Yeah, it's lucky life for sure.
And the tools that you need to become whatever you want.
Got a sick trainer, sick riding partners. It's crazy. Yeah, crazy special.
What made you want to get into moto and like really go after it the way that you are?
We really just sort of fell into it, to be honest with you. Like I said, we started riding in San Marcos as I was a kid, as a lot of kids do, probably just playing around with it, just, riding around the little track, the little peewee track. And then, once we moved here is when we started riding more, started going to Canyon, ACP here and there. And then my parents, they're not they're not gonna go half-ass into something if they're gonna be spending the money and taking the time to go hang out with me at the track. We're gonna go do it the right way. We're gonna get a coach, make sure you know what you're doing, make sure you're safe, make sure you have all the ingredients to and it wasn't at all like, if you want to ride, we're gonna you have to race at a national level, you have to do this. But they were just setting me up with a really good coach that could help me just not look like a goober at the track, just, know what I was doing. And
safety,
100%. If you're a kid, from the left pulling off to the right in the middle of a jump, it's dangerous. I've been in SoCal public tracks for a long enough time that I know how sketchy some young kids, then it's not their fault. They don't know. So, I mean, yeah, that you hear Anderson landing on people at Glen Helen, Dino landing at people in Glen Helen. So it's all a bunch of bad stories you hear, but it's, it's just because they don't have the knowledge. No one's taught them the right way. So,
Right.
So yeah, I really just start training with Shark, and then, just started getting better and better. Started racing whatever the AZ circuit is around here. Started in the beginner class. Did one in that stuff, moved up, and then we moved out to, the California, the Trans World scene. And then from there, yeah, just started picking a few nationals to go to a year. Tried qualifying for Loretta's, did that, and yeah, I just kept on building and got more and more serious every year for sure. So, yeah.
I feel like from a parent's perspective, it's kind of stressful, like having your kid race motocross or dirt bikes.
Yeah, I would imagine. I know my mom loves watching me race motocross more than anything.
That's cool.
When we're not racing, when I've been hurt, she's antsy to get out to the track, get out and ride. So I know she loves it. People are always asking her all the time, aren't you scared watching your kid, do this big jump? And she's like, never scared. So she's, my mom's hardcore.
She ain't scared.
When I was young, and obviously now I'm on a big bike, I do every jump on the track. But let's say 65 and there's this big tabletop. My mom was, no, you can do it. Like, go do this jump. These other kids are doing it. I mean, I don't know why you can't do it. And she was always pushing me. But yeah, my mom's hardcore for sure.
And that's what getting coaching and approaching the sport in the right way gets you. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like a lot of people turn the sport away. Like, oh yeah, injury. Like, they just don't do it because of this or that, or they kind of dabble in it and they're so worried about getting hurt or having something catastrophic happen that they like never really are able to love the sport as much. When really it's like, if you can educate yourself and learn how to ride proper technique, these are the things that you can, and ride confidently. Mm-hmm. These are the things that you can do to mitigate risk.
100%. I mean, yeah, obviously big accidents happen in outdoors and supercross, but I mean, those guys are in so much control of their dirt bikes and so much control of where their bike's going to shoot them, and they know how it's going to react. I mean, even kids at my level in the A class and amateur stuff, they, we know how the bike's going to react. We're, pretty safe on a bike for sure. I mean, obviously you're pushing it, and sometimes it gets a little out of line sometimes, no doubt. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's safe for sure at a pace my level for sure, at the knowledge of my level, to where what's going to happen and when it's going to happen for sure. Yeah,
and like easing into it and knowing when the right time to pour on the speed is,
100%.
And how to find speed,
where to push, where not to, where to be okay with keeping keeping the same speed through this turn, but this turn I know I can push. So yeah, it's all knowledge and just learning and riding for years on years on years. So yeah, it's just building up that big base we were talking about.
Yep, exactly. And it sounds like you're in between things right now. You gotta. I saw you go down to Glendale, where I was like, no.
Big bummer. So, I was training in Cali, and I was skimming the whoops all day. And it was on like a Monday or Tuesday that I had a super, super good day on this one track at KTM, super good day. Let's say, I want to say it was like a 50 or so, but it was a fresh track, brand new track, fresh prep. So I was obviously fast on it. But I was riding the best I've ever ridden on that track for sure. Then, off Wednesday, rode the other track Thursday, and then Friday we were back on that track. But, it was a little bit developed, a little bit dry, a little bit hard packed, and skimming the whoops all day, skimming them the best I've ever skimmed them. But they were getting pretty beat, and I was like, in my sprints, I got to about, let's say 50.5, and then I was like, all right, well, I had a 2-lap sprint coming up, so I was like, all right, first lap I'll skim, second lap I'll jump. First time jumping them all day. Went through, skimmed them sick. I was like a 50.5, super, super close, right where I've been all day. Then went through to jump them, and they were pretty cupped out, and went 3-3, 3 out, and it just kicked me over the bars. And it was a whoop pad to a 3 out. So it was sort of like that Jet Lawrence crash he had on Geico when he was young. Get bucked over the bars, jumping out of the whoops, and then sort of ride the nose into the face of the next jump. And I broke my radius, had to get that plated, and ripped some ligaments off my bone right at the base of my wrist. Had to get that fixed up, went up to Vail to get that fixed. Was feeling great. After about 3 months, started riding. that's when I started training with Eli. Eli was out here training, so I got ready with him. And then, I was riding at Glendale. Had decent qualifying. I finished 6th in qualifying, and then, I don't know what happened off the start in the main event. It was probably the worst start I've ever done in a race. Came out dead last into the turn, and I think it was second lap or so. I was leading about 10th place or so, working through the pack, and I was in that sweeping sand right turn, and it just shows how small the margins are in Supercross and just motocross in general. It was big rollers on this sweeping sand right hand turn, and got a little bit over the front started getting heavy. There's a video of it in slow mo. It gets heavy because I got over the front, so it started bearing in the sand a little bit, knifed, fully compressed, shot me over, and hit my head bad. So I don't really remember right after the crash, but I remember, like, from what I remember, I was regained consciousness, like, of what was going on in the medic trailer, and I felt my arm hurting, but I was like, it was right on the plate of the plate that I just broke, and I was like, oh man, I just bent my plate, or I don't know what this is. And they shot x-rays, and they're like, oh yeah, your plate's straight, but I mean, the x-ray machine they have in there is just a mobile one. It's not very good, so it wasn't super clear. And then went up to Vail, and they said it was broken right above the plate. So it was probably because my bone didn't have flexion because they had a plate in there, so it broke literally right at the end of the plate. So did that, and then re-ripped ligaments off of my bone. It probably wasn't fully healed yet. It was probably 90% healed, and
brutal.
Yeah, so back down for 3 months, but got my pins removed last week. So we'll be back to riding here in about probably 2 weeks or so. Let the incision heal up, regain range of motion. Now that the pins are out, and we're close. So closer back to getting back to training.
Dude, that was a scary crash because that concrete on the outside of that turn. Is that what you landed on?
That's what I thought I landed on, because I've never hit my head like that to where I was, didn't remember anything for half an hour after the crash. But in the video, I didn't land. I landed in the sand, so it's pretty weird that I did the damage I did in the sand section I did. And it wasn't crazy high speed. I was probably going 20 through that turn, 20 something miles through that turn, and it was it's a common crash. You tuck your front, loads, knifes, and then compresses and throws you over the front. So it's a common crash, but I just got the worst end of it. Sometimes
just the way you hit, like the whap of the head. I would honestly be more concerned about the head hitting than the wrist even.
That's I landed in the video. I got thrown in. I landed on my back, so I'd assume the whiplash back of just whacking my head
in the sand though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't go on into the concrete, so that's probably good. Helped me a lot. But
that's what I was worried about, especially when they red flags. I'm like, oh, crikey, the concrete is right there.
I know. It sucks. My first race, first futures, and that's what happened. But it is what it is, part of the sport. So we're gonna get ready for outdoors and go try to hit a few combines. Get ready, take my time with it, make sure everything's fully healed this time. Make sure I'm fully prepared for a race before I go race, and we have we'll put the head down, work with Davey. Davey's gonna get me good, so we'll get right for sure.
I love it.
Yes, sir.
What are the combines like?
They're pretty cool. So it's the day before, or the ones I've done. Sometimes they mix it into the race schedule on Saturday, but for me, it's on Fridays usually.
Before motocross?
Yeah, before motocross, or sometimes they run it early Saturday. Sometimes it just depends, but it depends on what the TV schedule is, I believe.
And is it like 250A kids only?
Yeah, or A and B kids. So
that's another question. What's the deal with the A and the B class? Because I heard like the B class is like hella competitive, and then there's the A class too. Like
they're basically the same class. I'd say the A class is just a little bit deeper. The A class is obviously a pro class, but the B class. So I sort of screwed myself when I raced the B class, because I, raced super minis, and then I was too big. I didn't want to go to a 125, but I didn't think I was ready for the B mod class and the schoolboy class. That's a fast, super competitive class. So instead of racing 125s, I went to the B limited class, and some rules got moved around to where if you were over 16 and you win a title at Loretta's in the B class, and you have to go straight to the A class. So the plan was to go B limited, B mod, then A. So then I ended up doing A right away. So that sort of mess up the plan a little bit. But I mean, then again, it's the same. It's super similar class. The top kids are going pretty much the same speed. I would just say it's a little bit of a deeper class. So
plus you won 250B.
Yeah, in the limited class. I mean, the limited class isn't super comparable to the B class. I mean, obviously the bikes aren't nearly as capable as a mod bike, and then the class isn't nearly as deep. But I mean, I raced a kid that I was battling all year with on super minis, and then I raced him in the B limited class, and I would say we were definitely going pretty fast on those limited bikes, getting as much out of those pigs as possible.
How much better is a mod 250?
It's not even comparable.
Really?
Yeah. So, yeah, because my favorite bike still that I've ever ridden was a Super Mini.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the amount of pop that those bikes have and the amount of bottom end they have, it's just the sickest bike ever.
So you have more bottom end on a Super Mini than on a 250F?
Well, obviously you have more on a 250, but like compared to the motor and like the amount of hit you have on that Super Mini, it felt stronger to me. Like it feels stronger because of the little bike you're on, right? And just the little wheels you're on.
Right, like you get more reaction from the chassis.
I mean, those Super Minis are killers. I mean, those things. I was on a Lynx Super Mini, and that thing was an absolute killer. So that bike.
Lynx, what's that?
The motor builder, the motor guy that I went through for all my Super Minis and 85s, and all my 2-strokes were through him. So. But yeah, it was an absolute ripper. So that thing was super sick. And I'm not a big rever guy. I like a lot of bottom end, super chill. That's why I like a 125. I wouldn't really like too much because they're a little bit fat on the bottom, a little bit blubbery, and you have to ride them really hard to be efficient and be fast on it. Rather than a Super Mini, you can use a lot of momentum, let that bottom end work, and you don't have to clutch it to get it up to that. So
wow.
Yeah, 250, you have to ride it, hard. All those guys, I mean, they're revving the crap out of them to get them up there in power. But, yeah, I mean, you can't ride it like a 450 at all. So, but, yeah, I mean, Super Minis are sick, long story short. Super Minis are badass.
I wonder if you'd like a 250 2-stroke.
I have a 300 KTM, and that thing is super sick. It's pretty torquey on the bottom. Not super fast, down a straight. But, I mean, that thing, I've ridden 252 stroke, but it was sort of clapped. I'd like to ride, a fresh
built one,
and then see what it's like. But yeah, the 300 I like a lot, playing around in the desert on that for sure.
So the combines, bringing it back, like what's the vibe and the scope of the combines? How does that work?
So it's basically the exact same thing as the futures races. They sort of, because it's not really, I mean, they try to market it and like, not market it, but like the way they try to set up the program is to really help the riders and gain experience. Like they take you through, they give you coaches, for example. Everyone, I think there's probably like 4 or 5 coaches, and each, coach has 4 or 5 kids, right? So those coaches teach you about nutrition. They teach you about what you should do on race day. They teach you about, how you may want to set your bike up that day, so they, and it's always like I had Zach Osborne as a coach. So it's always super well knowledgeable guys that know what they're talking about, obviously. And, once again, just always learn something from everyone. So yeah, they really try to set it up to learn from the coaches. And then they even bring in speakers, they bring in, like military people, just talk about, the grit and stuff that they go through in war, and how you can relate it back to riding dirt bikes. So it's a cool experience to be able to do that. And I think it's a great thing compared to what they had, however long ago before they had futures and supercross, to where, those kids were just going straight into a pro race, and they, didn't get to race on, do a 10-minute moto in the night program. They were going straight into heat races. So yeah, I think it's a great program. And yeah.
So it's like half of a learning experience, and like who puts it on?
It's ran by Phil. It's everything. Yeah, it's an invitational. So
It's invitational.
yeah, I mean, yeah, they fill up the gate for all of them, but it's invitational, and yeah, they take the top kids from A class and B classes, and yeah, just let these kids get combines and futures under their belt, so they're as prepared as possible for them when they make the transition to pros.
That's cool that the combines. It's like an opportunity for you to showcase your skills because since the teams are there.
That's what the start of it was, because like yeah, they wanted it to showcase, because I don't know, but let's take me at Freestone for example. I may crush it at Freestone, but that track may not transition perfectly to pros. So really seeing how a kid reacts on pros, or just really gets to let those team managers and scouts see how you react on a real Supercross track. Yeah, it's incredible for me and everyone else that's been able to do it, for sure.
Totally. And it's cool that they are providing resources for you as well. Like, come to this combine, and this is an opportunity for you to showcase your skills. And we're also going to help you a little bit. We're going to coach you. We're going to give you some resources. We're going to teach you about nutrition, some grit stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to teach you about these things, and then you get to go race as fast as you can and get to race in front of these team managers.
That's the awesome part. Like I did Redbud last year, and I mean that race, doing the leap at Redbud in front of these rednecks. I mean, they love it. So that's a feeling I'll always remember doing that. So yeah, just being on a real track, because I mean, obviously amateurs, the only spectators you're going to get at this amateur race is family members, and maybe at Loretta's you'll get some team managers here and there, but like for spectators purely, I mean, it's all family members, right? And friends of racers that are there. Then you go to combines, and at Glendale you have a full stadium of just people that like dirt bikes watching you. So it's definitely I mean, it takes a minute to get used to thousands of people watching you, rather than just instead of a full fence line, now you have full bleachers full of people. So
well, and Glen Helen is probably one of the only tracks that's really close to like a track of like Redbud's scale.
Yeah,
where it's like,
on
I mean,
popularity
not
level
big,
and stuff.
Well, just size wise, like big jumps, big wide hills, wide track, huge jumps. Like you're not going to get that at ACP.
No, not at all. No, not at all. So even in California, Paula, obviously they race national there, but the national prep is only for the national. They're not doing that for a practice day. So you can, get it a little bit here and there, but yeah, I mean, it's hard. That's why combines are so great, is because you get to actually do it before, because you only have so many years in pro to show what you got before you're gone. So that's great to get the experience of being on a national size track. And because amateur tracks, they develop much different than pro tracks.
I bet.
You got little bikes on the track, you got vet riders on the track. You get these small bumps that are starting halfway down the straightaway from these slower riders, rather than outdoors. I mean, every guy on the track's legit, so develops much different. So it's good to do these combines and futures and see how it develops, for sure.
Such valuable learning opportunities.
No doubt.
What's the amateur motocross scene like? Are you able to make money racing amateur motocross?
Not really. I mean, yes, I make some money here and there, but I mean, back in the day.
But you couldn't like make a living off what you're doing.
You couldn't pay. You can't pay if you're a privateer. Let's say you're not on a factory team, right? And you get the same salary as, let's say, this factory kid does. You're not paying for your travel. You're not paying for your racing and living and paying for housing. You're not getting that kind of money nowadays. But back in the day, I know Factory Cowie used to throw monster contracts. Geico used to throw monster contracts. I mean,
at young kids, amateur kids.
I know. Yeah, I was good friends with Mumford, and he got big Geico contracts. Jet Reynolds got big contracts. I mean, they back then for sure, but now I'd say it's more bonus money that you get, not salary like those kids used to get back in the day. So, yeah. And
how'd your deal with Monster come about?
So I've been friends with Monster Mike for forever. So I used to on 65s. used to have pro circuit pipes and pro circuit suspension, and Mike was the amateur, the rep for PC, and then moved to Monster. And you can't be sponsored by an energy drink until you're 13. So once I turned 13, Mike got in touch with me right away, and started building that relationship. And they're one of the. I'm very lucky to have them behind me. Mike has supported me in too many ways, and it's incredible to have a guy like Mike behind me and a brand like Monster behind me. So,
dude, that video Lone Rider that you did was so sick.
Yeah, stuff like that. It's cool to have. If I didn't have a Monster doing that shoot, maybe I wouldn't get as much publicity or
totally.
Just it's not even about the publicity for me, but just being able, like you said, having these sick edits and stuff, throwing these sick whips at the house, and just having videos to look back at. It's super cool to have that opportunity to be able to film with a brand like Monster and the quality of filmers I was with that day. So
and that's what a partnership sponsorship is. Like, I have skill and I have a cool spot and this is what I have.
Yeah, let's showcase that.
And you guys have content creation skill and you guys need riders, so it's like, let's team up and I'll do this and you do that and let's make some sick stuff.
Yeah. I mean, Shirky and K Crab, and Tyson, they put super sick stuff together that day. So it was 2 days, but
and it's so creative too.
Yeah, I mean, Shirky, he definitely wants that old core vibe. They don't do those old amateur Verb Moto videos like they used to anymore, and that video sort of gives me that kind of vibe. And Shirky's definitely a dog in that way. He has that idea behind him for sure, and wants to make Moto core again for sure. So
is that the guy? That's not the dirt shark guy, is it?
No, that's a different guy. Shirky, he's just an amateur, not an amateur guy, but he works for Monster and does a lot of all those Monster Army projects. He's probably the guy behind it. So I filmed with him in Mammoth for the first time when I was younger, and then Mike reached out saying they want to do a movie with me, and then got me in touch with Shirky, and now anytime I see him at the track, he's throwing me together little videos for me and stuff.
Sick.
So Shirky's a dog. He's a cool ass dude.
Dude, my favorite part was when they did that scene with your dad, like doing a little spin around on a horse.
Yeah.
And then they like would, and it was like the painting on your helmet. I'm like,
yeah.
The forethought.
Yeah, it's
dude, the creativity.
Yeah, like that helmet, I didn't even know I was getting that. So having an AP cooked on that helmet. So having art, something like that, it's not just a classic Monster helmet with the green claw. Having something, taking a picture of my dad and putting it on the back of my helmet as like a shadow in the desert. It's super sick.
So sick.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that video, you gotta go check it out. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, it's
and you guys got a rainy wet dirt day, yeah?
No, I think it was dry, but I'm
into
into
water.
Water truck. Yeah. Water truck.
Do you have a water truck? You have your own water truck?
Yeah, you have to in Arizona. If you don't have a water truck, you're cooked.
Can you drive that thing?
Oh hell yeah. Yeah, you got to. Yeah, my dad taught me super young. He threw me in it and told me to figure it out. So it's if you don't have a water truck in Arizona, you can ride, but it's not gonna be fun, I wouldn't say. So
bro,
or I mean, you desert boys, yeah. Yeah, I spent enough time training with Taylor and training with you boys out in the desert on the turn tracks. I mean, it's an amazing skill to be able to learn the throttle control and learn the different techniques you can learn through deserts. So I love every minute of it, but I like a wet track and some jumps for sure.
It's so fun.
Yeah,
dude, I love motocross. Like, I'm an off-road guy.
Yeah,
but I love motocross because it's just so sick, dude. Like off-road, it's not really you're it's like man versus terrain, right? You're like riding through trails, rocks, whatever the terrain's gonna throw my way, I can ride it, no problem, whatever.
100%.
And it's about being able to conquer those different obstacles. But motocross is like you're actually building a track that's meant to have flow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like off-road, you can find flow, but it's not really like designed for flow.
Yeah,
So getting on a motocross track when it's like properly prepped, dude, I went to ACP the other day and it was like not properly prepped. I'm like, dude, I would rather be riding dusty motos. No shade on ACP, but
not at all,
when there's no competition, the tracks don't get as good. There's no other tracks, so they're like, everybody's gonna come no matter what.
Well, the issue is like we said. I mean, the amount of money it takes to water that size of a track properly. I mean, you probably won't break even.
Totally.
So, I mean, I understand it, and then
yeah, it's a huge job to prep.
Huge job to prep. A lot of hours to prep that track. I mean, the amount of water he probably puts on it probably takes some hours, and it still gets dry in freaking 2 hours of riding it.
Yeah, it was windy, so it probably
yeah, you're cooked. Yeah,
yeah.
The issue, yeah,
Air fried it.
It's tough because like even in Cali, you know, if they give you a nasty track that's not sick right away and is muddy and crappy for, you know, an hour, you know, the track's going to be good all day long, but you need a lot of guys to break in a track and get it good. And at ACP, if he freaking rips it 5 feet deep and waters the crap out of it and every inside's a mud fest for 2 hours until the track breaks in, it's never going to break in because you don't have the guys to you don't have the amount of guys to do it.
So, like, doing a full prep wouldn't even be good, really?
No, it's never going to – at ACP, no, it's never going to develop. Yeah, especially when you have 30 guys on an outdoor track or on the main track. It's not – and not many guys at speed, you know?
Right.
You may have 30 guys, but not many guys at speed that are, you know, actually going to develop a track.
Right,
so,
like rail a section and make a rut.
Yeah, actually get
Most guys are just kind of surviving through it.
Yeah, they're just having a good time. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, they're not training like me and you. So
right.
So yeah, it's different, but yeah, I mean, ACP is keeping AZ alive for some.
Yeah, we need
ACP.
Part.
Yeah,
we need ACP bad.
Yeah, if ACP goes away, it's bad,
dude. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, Bobby, keep it going.
Bobby, come on, dude.
Yeah,
come on, dude. Come on, Bobby. Stick with. I talked to him last week, and he sounds like things are looking good. Like they have a pretty good insurance thing right now and stuff. So that's good. I don't think ACP is really going anywhere, and that's his investment. Like that's his retirement. So that's good, and we're lucky to have guys like that are passionate about the sport.
That's the thing. He could sell it and retire. You know, he could sell the land and be done. But he loves moto, loves Arizona, loves the people that come to his track.
Totally,
he's proud to own a motocross track.
And in that way, we have to be grateful.
No doubt about it. Yeah. Yeah, if there's no ACP, then the closest track is probably California or Kingman. Yeah.
How's the track in Kingman? I've heard about that.
I've never been, but a few guys I know have been there. It sounds like it's fine, but it's nothing. You know, it's not going to Paula, but it's still a motocross track. It'll do. It's still a moto track to have. So
I'm gonna we'll have to go take a trip out there because what's that? That's like 3 hours from here. It's not too bad.
Say, yeah, 3 hours.
You could do a day trip to Kingman.
I mean, yeah, ACP is about an hour and 45 from my house, so just a little bit longer, and you're to Kingman. So,
where do you think the best place, like if you were gonna buy land and build a track or like a facility, let's just say, like if you're gonna build a facility somewhere on the West Coast, like Arizona, let's just say, where would you do it?
I wouldn't do it in Arizona. That's the issue.
Where would you do it? On the East Coast?
For me personally, I like West Coast. I like hard pack tracks. I like seeing some dust here and there. You know, I like sliding around. I would do it somewhere in California, but it's just, you know, if I had unlimited money, I would. But I mean, it's for almost anyone, it's not possible to run a facility in California and SoCal anymore. So that's why, I mean, but Florida, Georgia.
Yeah, but there's no mountains there.
No, I know it's flat.
Because I'm just like trying to think of like a way where I can like live in Arizona and have what I want. Like I think the sickest thing would be like have your own track,
100%,
and like have your own shit going on, so nobody can and enough land where like your neighbors and other people can't really tell you what you can and can't do.
Yeah,
and then like place for people to come out and stay and ride. Like I think that would be so sick.
Yeah, where I am in Rio Verde, Arizona, it's probably one of the best places you can do it at. It's still 20 minutes from town, but I mean, it's gotten built up like crazy in the last handful of years. Like, I mean, the track's on 2 different sets of properties. It jumps the fence, obviously, and I mean that bottom, it used to be vacant down there, just the track, and now neighboring the whole thing, we have houses. So it's getting tough, and you know, it's definitely tough to have you're not going to move there and build a dirt bike track if you're not there, you know, for a long time. Like we've been there before everyone else has moved in. So, you know, you're sort of grandfathered in to where, you know, they were the one that chose to move next to a dirt bike track. But yeah, you're either super far out there, you know, if you want to build a facility, but I mean, then again, if you're in Kingman or something, the dirt's going to be super rocky, not the best.
That's the thing. You have to find good dirt.
Yeah, and I'd say my house is probably some of the best dirt you can get here. And when it's wet, it's incredible. But I mean,
good.
It's once a year, so, like true wet. Really soaks in. You can't get it that good with the water truck. So if you get a big rain, it's sick for sure. Super sick.
Totally.
Yeah.
Other thing I wanted to ask you was you have Daniel Blair helping you. What's that?
He used to. When I was with KTM, he was the team manager. So he guided me for, it was probably about a year and a half or two. I saw he just signed with the club now, but yeah. So he's the GM or something like that with club, helping them out. But yeah, Daniel has a cool perspective on moto. Obviously, he's been on all sides. He's a parent, so he understands the parent side of it. Has his kid racing, and then has raced himself for a long time, so he knows both sides of it. Yeah, I appreciate all the guidance Daniel's ever helped me with, and helped. I met him at a KTM camp. He came in and coached for a few days, and then they ended up looking. The team manager at the time moved on, and they were looking for a guy, and everyone liked Daniel from the camp, so they reached out to Daniel, and that was when he was still doing TV stuff with Supercross. And he was sort of juggling both of them, and then went full-time manager, and now it's with clubs. So yeah.
Are you running KTMs in the future?
Yeah, I'm still on KTMs, but I'm not with them anymore. With all the company restructuring that they went through and stuff, a lot of amateur cuts. So, but I mean, there's still a great group of people over there that are always willing to help me. Yeah, whether it's Frankie, Carlos, Nate Dogg, I mean, those guys will always help me out. So I always appreciate anything that those guys have ever done. I was with them for 5 years, and hopefully we can do something more in the future. But
so you got demoted.
Yeah, basically.
Broken arm, demoted.
Exactly. Yeah. So
you're buying bikes now.
Exactly.
No parts allowance. Oh, you want spec motors? Oh yeah, you got to buy those.
Yeah, exactly.
You want good suspensions? You got to buy that too.
Yeah, no more free A kits. But no, it's just
brutal. It's cutthroat, dude.
I mean, it's business. It is what it is.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you can't take it personally. They're in a really tough spot and put themselves in a hole that if they kept on doing the same thing, they would have gone under. So
and bro, they gotta pay Chase.
They gotta pay Chase, and gotta sell bikes. So
totally,
I understand it. They it's a.
But you're gonna stick with them, and
I'm still going. KTM's, and
that's cool.
Yeah, it's everything's still with them. So yeah, I love KTM's. I've been on them. Rode a Cobra 50. Got a KTM 65, and haven't ever ridden a different bike since. So yeah, it's always been KTM's for me.
You ridden a 450 much?
Yeah, I did. I've done a little bit 450s. 450s are super sick. So I like how I was talking about how super minis are just, you can sort of just, ride it at the bottom and the power. 250s, you're riding them revved up, and a 450, you can frickin' get gear high and just let that thing run. So 450s are sick. I've never trained on one, but I've spun some laps, and they're sick.
But you got a ways to go in your 250 life.
Yeah, long time. So I mean, there's people like Jordan Smith, for example, that's 30 and still on a 250. So never know what's in my future. But yeah, I'm only 18, so I'll be on a 250 for a long time. So yeah, but yeah, I love 450s. 450s are sick.
Yeah. It seems like it would fit your style. You like that low end torque.
Yeah, I like 450s. Yeah, they're sick. And I mean, I could race one as an amateur in the Open Pro Sport class, but I don't know, I'd probably pump up pretty bad.
Right, it's so much different too.
Yeah.
What about a 350?
A lot of kids race them, but or train on them. If not many people race them, because I mean they're pretty comparable. They have a little bit more bottom than a built 250 motor.
Yeah.
Just a tad bit more bottom, just a tad bit more everywhere. But I mean, people train on 350s because it's more affordable than doing a fully built freaking, let's say, twisted motor, for example. But I'm lucky enough that I am able to train on my twisted motors all the time for 250s, and it's always best to ride what you're racing, but
for sure
that's not in everyone's cards, so I understand that 100%.
How much does it cost to get a twisted motor?
I'm not sure, but a lot. I mean, any 450 any 4-stroke motor. If you're getting a fully built one, I'm sure anything's close to 10 grand.
So you just do you just get stock bikes and then you like pull the motors out and then send them there?
Yeah, so get a stock bike. Yeah, suspension goes out, or I mean, it's stock suspension. I don't really ride on air suspension ever. Sometimes I ride production, but very rarely. I'm mostly on A-kit stuff. Motors go out. Put the triple clamps on, put the steering stabilizer on. Not the big boys you boys run, but
I don't run one.
no.
All
right,
Which one do you run?
It's a little WP one. It goes
Behind the number plate?
Yeah, behind the number plate, the moto style. So put that on for outdoors for sure. It helps a lot with traction, I feel, on the KTM. Some people run different motor mounts, a little bit stiffer maybe, or maybe a little bit more flex. I've run all tie stuff, so that stiffens the bike up quite a bit.
Does it?
Oh yeah. It's tie, especially if you're doing tie motor mounts and tie triple clamp bolts. If you're doing tie shock bolts, I mean, that stiffens the bike up like crazy.
You can notice it
severely. Yeah.
So do you guys run tie for the effect it has on the chassis or for the weight?
More for the weight. Yeah, it saves. I mean, my race bike's light, man. Like carbon fiber, anything I can run. And then full tie on stuff. But yeah, I mean, you can get light with them for sure.
And how do you organize going about your bike builds? Because like I'm curious myself. Because like, dude, I'm building bikes and doing the thing and going racing and all that. And like, dude, it's a process. Like I get bikes, I frame them, I grease everything, I build them back up, I put all the stuff on them. Like it's a process, dude.
I respect a guy like you that's doing everything by himself. I've been super lucky. Me and my mom, when I was growing up, when I was a young little kid on 65s, my mom did everything with me. Going to California, she was the one that drove me across the desert, wake up early in the morning, drive to California, ride at 9:00, stay one more night, ride that day, and then drive home. So my mom did everything, and I was super lucky to have a guy named Mike McMullen, Shark's brother, as my mechanic for a long time. And then he just didn't want to travel as much anymore, so he stayed home. And then I was able to get a mechanic named Trevor. He was with me for a long time. But I've always been able to have mechanics. My parents, like I said, they make sure I have everything I need to do what I have to. But I mean, there's been times for sure that maybe a mechanic decides to move on and go do a different job. And mechanics are hard to find. Good mechanics are really hard to find. So I've been lucky in the last few years to have a really good race mechanic. And then, it's hard finding good practice mechanics, but right now I have a guy named Joe. He's super good. And it's hard to find these guys. So like after I had a guy all this summer, and then he went back to racing. Actually, he was a younger kid. So he was like 20 years old, used to race, went and was a mechanic with me, and then wanted to go back to racing. So he went back to racing after this summer. So I didn't find a guy for about a month and a half, 2 months. So I was doing everything on my own, doing all the prep. I had some help from Jedediah at KTM. He would help me out a little bit. But for the most part, it's washing it, doing all the maintenance, doing the services on it, the daily stuff. Anything legit, I'm not going to do. But
and who handles like ordering parts and stripping the bike?
Race mechanic does everything. So he's my race mechanic's super good, Tyler. He's
so he's like also a manager. He's like a bike manager.
Yeah, does race mechanic, and then he's he's in charge of what goes on. Obviously, I pick what goes on my bike. Like I pick what suspension goes on and stuff. But he picks when this gets changed out. He picks what parts we will run, what parts I test on. He's for the most part runs through all of that stuff, make sure my practice bikes are up to date, everything's good to go. Make sure my frames aren't timed out. Once they're timed out, make sure I have a brand new bike ready to go.
How much time you put on a frame?
50 hours.
That's it.
Yeah.
50 hours new bike.
New frame, yeah.
Take the motor out, throw the frame away, put a new frame on.
Yeah. 50 hours.
Are you able to buy frames from KTM without VINs on them?
So I was able to get some frames from KTM, but it's a little bit weird. I mean, I have enough for the most part. What I do is I mean, for the last handful of years, I've gotten, handful of bikes a year from KTM. So what we would do is, let's say we get 5 bikes a year. 2 of those bikes are on one's race bike, then the other one is going to be a backup race bike, and then halfway through the year it'll get turned into a brand, like my new race bike. Then the one I was racing on will turn into the backup one, so I'm always on a bike that's like
fresh,
under 10 hours, right? 10-15 hours is when the race bikes move to practice bikes and a new one gets put in as the race bike. But yeah, so for the most part, I would say about 2 to 3 practice bikes a year, and put 50 hours on it, then move on to the next bike and sell the other one. So that's because it's hard to get frames from especially now I'm not with KTM. It's hard to get frames. So yeah, that's for the most part what we do. Just sell the bikes as they are. Obviously, put all the stock stuff back on. Keep the race bike stuff keep the factory stuff and the suspension, motors. Keep all that stuff. And then until that stuff gets timed out, then we sell that as well. But yeah, we basically just cycle through about 4 bikes a year.
So you buy motors too. So you buy extra motors, keep the stock one stock, and then buy another motor and have that one done.
It depends. My mechanic, he juggles a lot of parts around. We don't buy motors, but I mean, because years, sometimes we don't use all 5 bikes that I would get, so we have 1 bike left over, and that bike, if you go to into my shop, we'll have, let's say three bikes built, and then 2 bikes are missing motors, and it's because those motors are in crates to be backup motors. So 1 bike's sitting in the race rig.
So you use one as a parts bike.
Yeah, for the most part, and then it gets sold as basically a brand new bike. So we put
and then you'll swap and then you'll take the frame from that one, and then
it all gets juggled around, so it's a little bit whack.
Makes sense.
But yeah, for the most part. Yeah, Tyler does everything for us. So
that's sick, dude.
It's super good to have a guy like Tyler.
I like that. Must be so nice just being able to like have that program dialed and not be working late in the garage.
Well, the stress of, I mean, not saying like anxiety and stuff, but just having the, not even mental stress, but just the stress you don't even realize that puts on yourself working on a bike. Like when I was working on bikes. I mean, if you're just riding and working on bike, that's one thing, it's still all day thing. But like when I was in California this fall, you wake up, do your warm up, go to the track, riding at 9 o'clock, 9:30, grind out, till 1, 2 o'clock, go get lunch. You may just have gym, so you're done at maybe 4 or 5 o'clock. But, then for the most part, Davey has me doing recovery cycles. We could be doing swims, runs. So, I mean, you're finishing up after the track, after lunch and stuff. Let's say we start at the gym at 2:33.
Yep.
Let's say hour and a half in the gym. Then you're doing a 2-hour road bike ride. I mean, you're done at 5:30, 6 o'clock. And now I got boots to wash. I got dirt bikes to wash. I got filters to change. I mean, you're getting finished up at 10 o'clock at night. And then you got to go shower, eat dinner. I mean, it's a lot. And I've been super, super, super thankful for a guy like Jared in my life that's been able to tell me, the way I need to take care of my body to perform the best on a dirt bike. And being, going to sleep at 11:30, 12 and waking up at, 6:30 the next day to go ride. I mean, it's that 1%, it's that 1% that you're losing that day. And
probably more than that.
Yeah, probably a little, maybe 5%. But
when you're young, you lose less percentage. But when you start to get older, bro, that sleep is so valuable, dude.
So I mean, sleep's half your life, so it's super important. And yeah, so when you're working late and getting up early, handling everything on your own, it's definitely a lot of stress on the body for sure. Compared to I mean, a lucky kid like me that gets to have mechanics that do everything.
Ordering parts and organizing it and deciding what's going to go where and how it's going to work. Like, dude, that takes a lot of time.
Then driving to races.
Bro, that's a lot, bro. Organizing parts on spreadsheets, like, that is a lot. I mean, he's probably got a full-time job doing that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with me being hurt right now, he's not doing much. But I mean, when I'm racing, he's not working on bikes every day, but he's
organizing, ordering parts, figuring out what to do, calling this guy.
Especially a guy like me that's, let's say for this summer on outdoors, for example, let's just say on average, for the most part, I'm going to be doing close to 230s every day. Some days I may be doing 320s or sprint days, but let's just say, for example, 230s every day, right? For 4 days a week during the summer while I'm building up my base, right? So it's a lot of hours.
230s every day?
Yeah. That's pretty standard for like
Monday
a pro guy.
through Sunday?
Oh, sorry. 4 days a week, like every day for my training days.
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
I like that structure.
Yeah, I've always been a 3-day-a-week guy, but Davey's, he likes 4 days a week, especially when I'm not racing. I've always been just the way with me living here in Arizona and then training in California, I would grind out 3 days, go super early Tuesday morning, ride Tuesday, stay Wednesday night, ride Thursday, and then come home Thursday. So that's what my schedule was for 5 years. And now I'm more full-time out in California, so I'm able to take, that 1 day off in between on Wednesday, halfway through the week. And, but yeah, when I was saying every day, as in every day I'm riding.
Right.
So, but yeah, the amount of bike work, this part breaks here, at my level, it's not for a guy like, even looking at Davey's position, like let's say I'm a guy that, I'm not coming prepared to the track, right? Come in and I tip over and turn, my clutch breaks off, right? And I'm like, I don't have that. I guess I'm going home for the day, right? So it's just wasting everyone's time, right? So you gotta, that's why having a guy like Tyler is super valuable, making sure
oh yeah,
my backup parts are always there, that my backup parts are getting replenished, that and for the most part, I mean, I'm super lucky that stuff rarely ever breaks, but Tyler always makes sure I'm set when stuff does break. So
do you drive out to the East Coast in your van when you go to the East Coast?
That's why I'm a super lucky kid. So that's why I respect the guys like you that are driving all over, working on your own bikes. I have the privilege of having mechanics that can, drive the van over, do the 2-3 day haul, and I just get to fly in with my gear bag, and
that's sick.
It's super lucky. So
yeah, I mean, do it. Why wouldn't you? I mean, if you had to do what I do or what other people do, then you'd probably do that.
Exactly. You got to do what you got to do. But if you have the privilege of having a mechanic, sitting in a car for 2-3 days,
Oh, dude.
Yeah, it's not the best. You're gonna be feeling stiff for a few days on the bike after that. So
big time, dude.
And then let's say if we're leaving from Arizona going to Loretta's in Tennessee, right? 2-day haul, and then you have to pull. It's not like you get there Friday, you just practice Saturday. You get there on Wednesday, Thursday. You gotta do signups. You sit there for a few days, and then you practice on Monday, right? So me being able to fly in on, let's say, a Saturday, be there, recover Sunday, and then start riding Monday for Loretta's week. It's super important. And like
where do you ride on Loretta, like before Loretta's?
So this last year I was at Alden's, and I mean I rode all the way up. I probably flew out on a Friday and I rode on Thursday or Friday morning. So it's
is that not too much? Like showing up the week before. So Loretta's, when does Loretta's, like when's your first race day of Loretta's?
Practice Monday, race Tuesday to Saturday.
Tuesday through Saturday. Okay.
Yep. About 1 to 2
So you'll show up the week before?
Yeah, the rigs have to pull in a week before because...
so they'll show up on the previous Monday?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. That's what...
And you get there on Monday, on the previous Monday?
That's what... I don't, because then you're sitting all around for a week. So then I'm able... let's say if I'm doing my summers in California, I can ride up to a Thursday, maybe even Wednesday, whatever my coach at the time has planned out for me. And then I have the privilege of being able to fly to Loretta's. So
yeah, but the week before, so you're riding like 3 days a week, but the week before, that seems like a lot.
Yeah, but you definitely taper down,
Right, you're like doing like short little sprints.
You taper down, make sure, it's a lot of sprints prior. Make sure you have a lot of aggression.
A
lot of aggression, because if you only do motos, you're going to get sort of caught in a groove.
Totally.
Lose some.
That 80% groove.
Yeah, that 80%. Yeah, if you're
it's like build your base with the motos early season, I should say. And then as you get closer and closer, your training sessions get shorter and shorter and shorter, and then boom, we're ready.
Yeah, exactly. So you obviously build up to your race weeks, but yeah, you definitely taper down. But I mean, it's a week off before a race, probably before a big race like Loretta's isn't always the best. So yeah, I've been lucky enough for the last few years that I can fly in, let's say on a Saturday or a Friday, do signups and yeah, get after it on Monday, get the jitters out, actually ride a track and not have to race it, get to I mean I obviously I know that track like crazy right now.
Loretta's?
I've done 6 motos every year on it for the past, I think I've gone 8 years in a row. So yeah, I know that track like one of yeah, I know that track like crazy. But just riding a track that you're not racing on, you don't have your bib on, you can wear your jersey, and yeah, it's just good to just ride, so yeah, go ride, and then it's race time on Tuesday. So
Sick.
yeah, Loretta's that's a different animal. So I mean, this year I raced it in A class, and obviously in the years prior, let's say super minis, they're not going to put them at the start of the day in a deep track because they're little bikes. They're going to put you at 9-10 o'clock when the track's nice, fresh, still a little bit cool out. But A class, I mean, they put you in on the hottest, roughest times possible. So I mean, you got the 5 o'clock motos that are just baking hot,
dude, and riding in the
hot.
East Coast is so much different than out here. Like,
yeah,
we think it's hot out here in
shock.
Arizona. Arizona's not bad, dude. Our heat here, even in the summer, it's not that bad. I mean, it's hot, like it feels like you're in an oven.
Yeah.
But dude, the East Coast when it's humid, bro, it's
Florida,
a different game, son.
And those kids are used to it. Like Aldens, I mean, those kids after a 30-minute moto, there's a big tree that everyone pulls up to for shade, and at the start when I first got there, I'm going back to the shop for water. I'm not just getting shade. I need some water. So, but then obviously once you get used to it, I'm good to, I'm not as hot. But I mean, those first weeks in Florida, when I'm there, I mean, your feet are just boiling like crazy. Just literally boiling.
Dude, that's another thing that makes moto gnarly is like, dude, your feet and your hands are like the radiators for your body.
Yep.
And they're in boots next to your engine.
Yeah. With no airflow.
Airflow.
And I wear A-stars, so they're in booties. I mean,
and booties,
yeah.
and you're wearing gloves. Like, it's gnarly.
Yeah, moto.
But the body nasty. Adapts, dude. It is amazing. Like you said,
yeah.
After you're there for a few weeks, and then next thing you know, you're like, all right, I'm not laboring at the end of this moto as much.
Yeah, I'm able to charge, 90% the whole moto instead of 90, and then I drop off to 60%, let's say, the first few days in that heat. So it's just a different heat, though. I mean, I'm sure if those kids come out to SoCal, those kids, yeah, they wouldn't.
Oh, dude, whenever a Southerner comes to Arizona, like, man, it's hotter than hell here. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, they're just used to living in sweat, and we're used to living in a blow dryer when that wind picks up.
It's
in the
so
summertime.
different, huh?
Yeah, so
it's like the smell too. Like you go to the East Coast, like it smells different.
Oh yeah, it's swamps.
Yeah,
swampy.
Well, that's like southeast, right? But like even like in the woods or something, like the woods like have like a more dense, like earthy
like Indiana,
smell.
Yeah. Like I was there for Ironman this year, and I mean that's a GNCC, and it's in the woods. I mean that place is,
it's a different world.
Yeah, it's not West Coast, that's for sure. So
what do you got next? What's next for you?
So I should be riding here in about 2 weeks. Get my incision healed up, got a little infected, so get that sorted out. And then once that's healed up, we're gonna start riding, get on that 300, go ride some trails.
Yes, sir.
Instead of going straight into training, I've always done that when I did my knee, and then when I did my arm the first time. It's just nice to just go ride chill on flat terrain before I'm starting to hit big G outs on a freshly broken arm. So it's good to just go get core before you start training again. So go have some fun in the desert, go do some dual sport rides, go do some for me hard enduro rides, nothing like you boys do, but do some climbs, get some fun out, and then once I'm feeling strong, feeling good on a bike, feel comfortable again, going right back to California, getting to work with Davey, and we're gonna get back to where we were. So
start chipping away at it.
Yes, sir.
I saw on your Instagram you were like loving the new spot. It was one of these sick edits.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you got, a new spot, or you got a new place, or what's going on?
That was a new turn track I made. Yeah, out
that
in
looked
SoCal.
Like a sick zone.
Yeah, so that's like 20 minutes from Glen Helen. So turn track, I love core. I love getting down to real core moto going.
Dude,
out
you're
to
like
the
an off-road guy a little bit.
I've been around it forever. off road. I mean, I'm with
because your dad rode dirt bikes, right?
Yeah. So my dad rides dirt bikes still, when he can, when he's not working. We take off, and lucky to have trails literally right out of my house. So some of the sickest trails. So go ride dirt bikes on a weekend, just a chill ride. And then during COVID, when all the tracks were shut down, when I was on 85s, I did, and when they're all shut down in SoCal, I trained with Taylor and Jared for probably about 2 months or so. Grinded with them out in on the turn tracks. And always fun. It's fun, changing it up. Like you said, keeping it fresh,
For sure.
Riding the same 2 tracks all the time isn't always going to be the most fun. So going to, some of the SoCal turn tracks when it's wet, and even when it's dry, I think it's still, mixing in a nasty square edge dry turn track. I mean,
dude, you can learn so much from that.
There's a lot of kids that haven't ridden it, and if they were on it, they wouldn't know what to do. So it's great. Yeah, just changing it up, having fun with it, going on a turn track, and like I said, getting core with it. So getting back down to the roots.
Staying core.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like it goes back to being passionate about it. It's like I'm just passionate about dirt
bikes.
I love riding my dirt bike.
Exactly.
I love motocross. I love off road. I love trials.
Yeah.
Have you ridden trials much?
That's
next, bro.
No, I used to have a trials bike.
Oh, you did?
When I was young, I had a little Beta 80.
Okay.
Rode with Taylor.
Shout out to Beta.
And I'm ashamed of my trials career. I was too little for the bike, and Taylor, when he lived at his old house, and he had that little trial set up in his backyard.
Yep.
Went and rode with him a handful of times, but I was a goober on it.
You probably didn't really know.
Well, I was just a little kid. I was like a 10-year-old kid on it, and I didn't really have the strength to, do what you need to do. Didn't have the skill set to do what you need to do, and I still don't have the skill set, but it'd just be something to play around with to dance on my rear wheels. So,
well, dude, and it's so good for the fundamentals like clutch control, throttle control, balance. Like, you don't have to go up big splatters to ride trials. Like, I remember when I first started, Mike Dam. It was like, all right, dude, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go up this little off camber, back down, turn on the off camber, up, back down. Exactly. It's like turns, and you just learn so much about like tire placement
100%
and clutch and throttle control and how you use those to manipulate your balance and steering and where you look.
Watching guys like you on a trials bike, watching Tony Bow. I mean, Tony Bow's on a way different level, but I mean, just watching you guys in person, I mean, it's incredible what you guys can do on those bikes. So I'd like to try it again, now that I'm, not a 5'4", 5'5" kid, 100 pounds. So can't do much when you can't even, pick the bike up.
I think it helps, dude. I think it helps. Like, I think
100%.
Like, you have like moto as like your main course, right? Like that's your main meal.
Yeah.
But like, I think everything else makes right. Like if you're eating a meal, you have your steak. That's your motocross. Yeah,
that's my moto. Yeah.
Yeah. Salad's gonna be trials probably. Yeah. Potatoes is gonna be hard enduro.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Fruit's gonna be.
Yeah, just get on turn tracks maybe.
Tracks maybe,
exactly.
Something like that.
It's just something.
It's so good.
Have a big plate.
Oh, dude, it's so good to have a big plate. And I take a guy like Taylor Robert, for example.
That guy,
multi-skilled. Guy could ride a motocross race, a works race, a hard enduro, a trials event, an enduro cross, and he's so multi-skilled, and they all feed into each other. He takes all those skills and applies it to whatever one thing he's doing.
It's annoying training with that guy because he's probably going to beat you every time you're with him. So I've, on turn tracks, obviously would give me the heat, but I mean, he's obviously retired now, but when he was training for ISD last fall or whenever it was, I was, talking some smack on a moto track because he's, I got to get my sprint speed up, and I was, trying to get him out to Paula, try to get him out to a moto track, get something I could beat him at, but he was scared, so never came out, but yeah, riding with that guy, trials good at, and moto good at. I mean, supercross. He rode my moto track when I was a little kid. Came out to the house, rode it. I mean, ripped. Like he's
for sure
just good at everything. So
not everything. Have you ever seen him throw a football?
No.
Or shoot a basketball?
No.
Bro,
I was
not good at it.
It was funny. I was in Jared's the other day, and we were talking about these kids. That let's say live at a moto compound from when they're 5 years old.
Yeah.
Live in their fifth wheel, and all they do is moto, and they can't kick a soccer ball, can't kick a football, so they can't throw a baseball, can't throw a football. So, and I was like, And we were talking, and we were like, Jared was like, oh yeah, I feel like I can, do everything all right. I was like, yeah, a guy like Taylor, in moto can do anything good. And he's like, ask Max about him throwing a football. So he said he get no ball sports for that guy besides that red dot, huh?
Yeah, except for red dot. Yeah, and if he catches it to throw it at you, don't even stress it. Just stand still. Just stare him straight in the eyes, bro. He won't hit you. Don't worry. He might accidentally hit you in the face. So like, cover up.
Go head hunting.
Yeah. Well, he just loses it early. Like, he can't throw very good. It's like it'd be like you throw with your left hand or something.
Yeah.
I love him to death.
Oh, he's a badass dude. So
he's so badass.
So
but dude, I think like overall coordination can help too. Like, for example, like UFC fighters. One of the top women fighters, she was talking about how she started off as a dancer, like a ballet dancer. Yeah. And it makes so much
finesse,
sense.
Yeah.
Well, body awareness, movement, it's all movement. Time, yeah, exactly. It's all movement. It's all body awareness. And I see that with like a lot of my students that I coach.
Yeah.
And we were talking about filming earlier and like being able to see yourself. Yeah. What that's doing is creating body awareness of like what you feel like, what you look like. And dude, some of these kids I work with, they have no idea what they actually look like.
100%. That's why when you're in the gym, you're in the squat rack, you got a mirror right in
front
of
you,
so you can
valuable.
See maybe your favor in one side, dropping your hips on this side. So 100%,
dude. And it's even on a bigger scale, like even worse than that. Like I'll be like, all right, dude. So I want you to arch your back. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Moto position, attack position.
Yeah, get the butt out. Yeah,
bro. He'd be standing on his bike trying to figure it out. He'll be like
tucked ass.
He's like, all right, I'm doing it, right? I'm like, no, you're actually doing the opposite of what you're supposed to do. Like, go like that. And he's like, he can't do it.
Yeah, they just, that's why, exactly. Get the camera out, show them you, for example, show them. And, that's why it's great, for that, whatever guy you're coaching, just get him that base, get him something, make him not, make him comfortable on a bike. And it's,
yeah, and I think as a coach or like as a mentor, I think that just like creating the awareness for the person is like 90% of it.
Yeah.
Like, not necessarily like, not necessarily just for body position, but like anything. Like just create some awareness around like, how did you feel during that race?
Yeah.
I felt really nervous. Okay, was that serving you? What were you nervous about? Just being curious and just helping them find their awareness and understand what's going
100%.
on with them and for them. I think that that's really a big part of being a good mentor and a big
and helping
good
them
coach.
Break that down. Cause
totally
me coming off or you coming off her moto and just, what went wrong, there's so much stuff that went wrong or that might've went wrong that, it's hard for yourself to break down. But when you have a coach helping you, what about, on the start, I saw, you jumped the gate or whatever, you could break down what went through your mind there. It's much nicer to have a coach or a mentor just help you break down rather than having to deal with it yourself.
Right. Like, 100%. Okay, so you jumped the gate. So what does that mean? Like, why
are you jittery? Are you nervous?
Yeah.
Are you just like super antsy? Like, we need to figure that out and really breaking down the issue.
Right. And then ask them like, is coming in jittery or antsy like the best way to approach this? Probably not. Okay, well, how do you think we could...
How do we get you relaxed?
Yeah, or if you're feeling that way, how can we recognize that? And then, what things can we do to like help calm the nervous system down
100%.
So that you can perform at your best?
100%. Yeah, I mean, that's why, like I said, one training, Eli's program isn't going to work for Chase, and Chase's program might not work for me. So, not every guy's going to be jittery on the gate. So that's why I mentor, really knowing who you're working with. Maybe you got to yell at them and get them fired up.
Yeah.
Maybe you got to do that, or maybe you got to really calm them down, make them get centered. And that's why really having a good mentor is super important in a career or just,
Well, and I think it depends on the race too. Like it depends on the competition, right? Like for endurocross, for me personally, like I need to come in like a little bit more revved up.
Yeah.
But if I come in too revved up, then I'm
mistakes.
Too eager, too pushy, too like, my timing's like, like I'm a little too anxious.
I'm the same way here. Yeah.
So like I like to come in at like maybe like a 5 for endurocross.
Like chill.
Still
5.
pretty chill, but like I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
But for like a longer race, like a 2-hour race, like I'll come in at like a 3, dude. Like I am
super
chill. Yeah. But that's me.
Yeah. It works for you, may not work for me. So that's having a good mentor, guide you through that and help you break down your pre-race like your pre-race ideas and what you're going to do, and your pre-race setup is super important.
And like you were saying before, like training with all these different guys, getting Ivan Tedesco's perspectives, Eli Tomac's, Chase Sexton's, Aaron Plessinger's, Alden Baker's,
100%.
Like seeing all these different perspectives makes you figure out who you are.
What works best.
Yeah. For you. You're like, okay, this works for this guy. This works for this guy. Like I'm personality wise, I'm a little bit more like this guy.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more like Marvin, or I'm a little bit more like AP. Like I like to joke around.
In that person, and it works for him.
Exactly.
So maybe, in that aspect, I can go after that. So yeah,
totally.
I 100% with you, and that's why I'm so thankful for the great coaches and mentors I've had over my short career so far. So yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah,
Super
it's just
incredible.
like you're able to like mature that much faster.
Exactly.
Rather than just like figuring it out on your own at all the races. I feel like that's what I did. Like I had really good mentors too. Like I trained with Steve Hatch and, been around Destry and Taylor a lot. But like it took me a long time to like learn and like develop that self-awareness to like what works for me, who I am, and what actually works for me.
And being a good racer is a million times harder than going fast at a practice track.
Oh, dude.
It's not even comparable. I mean, what's the biggest thing for me is like, let's say, like I said, I'm 3 to 5 seconds off Eli, on a supercross track at my house or on outdoors. Let's say, I was on average maybe 3 seconds off of one of the guys at Alden's. And then when you go to a race, the margins just get bigger. They bring it to the race just as well. And that's something, I feel like I need to work on myself is, bringing better to the racing. And it's just something super hard to figure out. But, having good mentors to surround yourself with and help guide you is the key, I think. So.
Well, you're so right, dude. Like practicing is so much different than racing. And it goes back to like, what are you training for? Are you training to train, or are you training to perform?
At a race, yeah.
At a race. And that's where having the guidance from those mentors is so valuable.
Yeah, it's tough because, like, at a practice track, for me on an outdoor track, I don't know how it is every day for you on let's say a turn track, for example. But, I mean, I'm going to roll the first lap. I'm going to ride it 60% the first 2 laps, 80%, for a handful of laps. And then my let's say 7th, 8th lap, I'm going to throw down a sprint lap. But then at a race, when you have a 10-minute practice session, you can't do that. You freaking, I mean, it's a skill you have to learn for sure. Like you learn it from amateurs at a young age because you can't at these 10, 15-minute practices at these big amateur nationals, you can't roll around for the first session. You got to go. You got to do all the jumps first lap most of the time. You got to hit them blind. So it's super tough to find that flow when the first thing you're doing is I got to get a fast lap time. Like I got to find my flow right away.
I got to throw down right away.
Like we're going right away. When a practice track, I could frickin' coast for 2 laps and, it is what, it's 9 o'clock in the morning.
But like that time is so valuable. Qualifying time to throw down, even practice.
100%.
Because you don't have that much practice.
No, you get on Supercross, you get 10 minutes on the track at a time. So
that's not a lot, dude.
No,
that's like your 8 laps.
Not even, because if you think about it, most tracks are about a minute a lap time. But a coasting lap is what? Because those guys, they throw down 1 hard lap, coast for a lap. 1 hard lap, coast for a lap.
So they're getting like 4 or 5 laps.
They're only throwing down, 4 sprint laps. And, they're finding their flow on the first 2 laps. Yeah, I would assume, from a lot of those guys, from what I hear, they get 2 laps, learn the track, find get in their flow, throw down a sprint lap, maybe 2, coast for a lap, check out something new, throw down a sprint lap, coast, and then, that's 10 minutes right there. So it's tough to get that race groove for sure.
Once again, race experience. And then like, I think doing race simulations can be helpful too. Do you guys do much of those?
Yeah. Nate Dogg used to do that with me back in the day. We'd, at practice tracks.
Nate Ramsey?
Yes, sir.
Dude, how sick is Nate Ramsey?
He's a dog. So he's, Nate's been in my corner since I was on 65s. Trained with him, and then he was my team manager with KTM for a handful of years until he went to Rockstar. And then, I still see him every day. I'm training training for the most part at KTM. He's always there helping out his Rockstar boys. So yeah, it's just Nate Dogg would have us go, on a practice day, instead of letting us coast around for 10 minutes, he would say 1 sight lap, pull in, you're doing a 20-minute moto right away. So doing something like that, it's just like a race day. You do your sight lap. At Loretta's, you don't get practice on your race days. You get your sight lap. You get 1 lap. So yeah, it's just like, you would have us do that. But I haven't done that as much recently, but I should probably get back into that for sure.
And I think off-road, I know I'm such an off-road guy, but I think off-road can help with that too, because then you're learning how to read the terrain.
Yeah.
Instead of find your line.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to with Jared a few weeks ago. Is I'd love to do ISD at one point,
dude.
Once I retire, I'd love to do Dakar, and I'd love to do
Dakar.
Yeah, Dakar's badass. Dakar's super sick. Do the Sonora Rally, Dakar, maybe Baja. I don't know. It's a little sketch, but maybe Baja. And then I mean ISD would be sick, racing for your country. And but yeah, that's what he was saying. You have to learn. That's why a guy like Taylor was so good at it, is because you have to learn on the fly so much in desert. And that's why something like that could translate to moto so well, like we were talking about.
Sure.
Getting stuck in your line and not searching for lines. And coming into a straightaway, you naturally see, if you have that skill set, you naturally see what lines are going to be working and what lines may be blown or may have big holes in them, whatever it may be. So that's where having that big plate, desert's that one of those foods is definitely a good tool to have. For sure.
It's such a good tool. And your vision just adapts to be scanning and seeing lines and
just, yeah.
And I mean, not that finding a line that works is bad. That's key as well. But being able to understand and read the terrain, the fluff on the outside. Ooh, I can catch some of that fluff. That'll slow me down a little bit. But then I can swoop in and grab the end of that rut over there. You know what I mean? You
I can load my bike in that fluff
to
get out. Let's say there's a big bump coming into this turn. Why don't I brake a little bit hard, use that to get my bike down, settle it down, hop out of it, and cut across the track. That's where so many coaches, a guy like Marvin and Ivan, they've helped me so much, is setting up that track, not having, because obviously it's easy, if you pull up next to the rut or next to the turn, pull up to the side, and it's like, oh, what's going to work? But doing it in a race, doing it on the fly is what's most important. So learning from guys like that and mentoring you and showing you how to adapt is awesome.
Yeah, and then you kind of are looking at the track in a way, and I feel like Marvin was a guy that really did that based on what you're talking about and watching a race, where he's instead of looking at the track and being okay, there's all these braking bumps, how can I ride this track harder than everybody else and go faster?
He was never riding hard.
He wasn't riding hard. He was more looking at the track and saying, how can I use this track?
He was techie, super techie.
Yeah, how can I use this track to flow this track efficiently? Oh, there's braking bumps everywhere. Okay, well, I'm going to jump into the corner, go into the fluff, cut back across, miss the acceleration bumps.
Exactly.
And so I can get that much more power, scrub to the outside. How can I use the track to my advantage rather than just
100%.
Ride the track harder to go faster?
Yeah, we rode at Cahuilla a lot together this spring, and that track is wide open. A lot of just rear steer drifting. You're in the berms. There's no ruts on that track. It's a lot of momentum and just, you're just ripping on that track. And it's similar to Mammoth Motocross. That's one of my favorite races. That's probably one of the best races I've ever done at over the years. And I mean, that track, if it's all about angles, it's depending on how you set up your berms and cutting across, cutting down, maybe letting it float out deep into this turn. It's cool. And Marv riding with him, Marvin can rip at Cahuilla. He's fast, and we did some cool lines together. So it's fun riding with him. But yeah, I mean, I get that from all my coaches. That's why, I'm so thankful for all these great guys I've ridden with, whether it's Davey right now and the amount of knowledge I learned from him today, tomorrow I'll keep on learning every day. So it's great opportunities
for sure. And then you're also learning the mindset too. And
Davey's big on that. Yeah.
Well, just learning the actual specific things on the bike and on the track and how to race, that's all really good. But if you don't have the right mindset to be able to have like that growth learning mindset, how can I learn? Where can I improve? Like if you're not practicing the mindset for success, like you're not going to be able, anything that you do to get better on the bike, none of that's going to be applicable if you don't have the right mindset.
Yeah. If you don't go in with confidence and you're like already sort of looking down on yourself on the gate, like, let's say, let's take Juju and Deegan, for example. If Deegan rolls up next to Juju and, he's like, oh shit, I got Hayden next to me, this is going to be an issue. It's probably not going to be the best race. But if he, is like, yeah, let's get after it. I know him better than, I'm going to go just as fast as him, if not better. So yeah, just having that strong mindset and, setting yourself up to be ready to go perform is super, super important rather than, like you said, not setting yourself up right mentally.
Yeah. Or like people I see a lot of people operate in like a negative mind space.
Yeah.
Where people come to me and be like, hey, Max, I suck at logs. Can you help me do a pivot turn and get better at logs? Yeah. I'm like, well, I can try, but bruh, your mindset, you need to change your mind.
Yeah, I want to get better at logs.
How can I be better at logs? When you put the stamp of I suck at this thing on this thing, or my starts are bad, or I'm not an endurance guy, I'm a sprint guy, or I'm a sprint guy, but I have a hard time, bro. Yeah.
You're limiting yourself
totally,
like, subconsciously. Yeah,
totally. Yeah.
I agree with you on that one for sure. That's mine's. I mean, yeah, you have guys like Coop Webb, for example.
Dude,
that guy. He's probably not the most talented on the track, but he wins every weekend.
He's such
now. Example.
Who do you got for Supercross this year? Who's your pick?
I'll take Coop. Coop's championship mind.
You and Jared are on the train.
He's probably the biggest championship mindset that I've been able to experience firsthand. I wasn't in the Carmichael days. I wasn't watching TV like that. So I mean that guy's mindset that he has, he's gonna perform every time he's on the track. Give it the best he has. He's gonna race you hard. He's gonna probably rev bomb you coming in the turn.
Well, and it doesn't seem like the pressure gets to him like it gets to other guys. Like he's able to just handle
it. He's a dog.
It.
He's just dog. Like I mean, the little smirk he has on the podium after he knows he just finessed a win away from, let's say Kenny or Chase. That's happened in the
guys that past. Are so much talent.
I mean, yeah, Kenny and Chase, the skill, they go to a super techie thing. Those two are gonna probably do circles around a guy like Coop, but Coop is just a dog that is going to perform every weekend and somehow always finds himself up front.
Dude, and it makes me like the guy
100%.
Like he's not necessarily like what I would consider like a likable guy, right? Like he's like he's just like
douchey,
just dry. Like he just like he just looks like a punk. Like I don't even know. He's 100%. Like he's not like
he's a short little dude.
Yeah, you compare it with like an AP who's like full of life and energetic and always connected with the fans.
Yeah.
But then there's like a guy like Coop who's just like I want to win, and if he doesn't win, then he's not happy.
Yeah.
But like that's respectable too.
No, yeah, the guy's a winner.
Is
winner
so heart. Respectable.
It's simple as that.
And like, yeah, he's just the fact that he doesn't necessarily have the talent or the physical attributes to like be the best racer.
Yeah.
It makes me respect the guy and like the guy that much more.
He 100%. He's incredible what he has done this year. I mean, it is insane what that guy's done. I mean, he is this last weekend in Seattle. I mean, gets past, isn't doing the big 3 on rhythm lane, somehow makes it work still. You have Chase doing this big rhythm lane, the techie rhythm lane, doing the big thing, and somehow, 5 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago in the race, there he is hunting down the leaders. So it's super respectable. He's one of the coolest guys out there. So
he just finds a way.
He finds a way to win, and I respect it. So that guy's badass for sure.
Well, dude, it's been good, dude.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you for having me.
100%. Thanks for coming on and sharing your story a little bit and bullshit. And that was good.
I hope the moto knowledge is something for some off-road folks.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, they bend together pretty well. So So,
Oh yeah,
it's good.
oh yeah,
They
dude.
mend
Well,
real well.
and I think from my perspective, like the podcast, dude, like I am just interested in talking to people that I want to talk to
About dirt bikes.
Yeah. Or other things that I like too.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it means a lot that you're able to come by and.
No, I appreciate the opportunity to come reach a new audience, and hope I said some things you guys can learn from. So yeah.
100%.
Yes, sir.
A couple of weeks we'll go ride.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, that's happening. We're gonna get a group, get Taylor out.
Maybe get some rain.
Yeah, I don't think that's. I mean, we got. Yeah, I don't.
Got a little bit of rain today.
Got a little drizzle, but
didn't count.
Didn't get the dirt
Didn't
wet.
count.
Didn't get the dirt wet.
Yeah.
So we're gonna. I mean, if we're gonna have to raw dog it, go and dry, we're gonna have to. But
we'll do it.
Yeah, we're gonna get out on 300s, go have some fun.
Perfect.
So, yes, sir.
We'll make it happen.
Sick.
My man.
Thank you, Max. I appreciate it.
100%.
Yeah. All right.